tell me what to make. I don't care about your take. It's my channel, and I do what I want. Wah!
Okay, we're live. Oh yeah,
we're live. Oh my gosh, dude, this is so exciting. We're so back, man. We're so back. Carlos, Matt, how you guys doing?
Hello. Doing good.
Hi.
How about you? It's always the funny thing where it's like you got to pretend
get an intro down.
we haven't been talking before we started the video. We're just now seeing each other for the first time in weeks.
In weeks, yeah.
Missed
It's
you
literally
guys.
been once the winter came in, we just all had to like shelter in place. No, I'm just kidding.
Yep.
Yeah,
No,
I'm glad everybody's okay.
Yeah. Beards have been grown.
I mean, there's been some exactly. See, this is how long it's been since people have seen me. Not really, because we had like the whole molasses stuff, but yeah, it's been good. But no, this is exciting though, because this is our first video for one of our other book series that we've been reading, Sun Eater, and it was. I mean, we're gonna get into it, but it's been really interesting. So obviously, we did the first book. We did I guess technically is it a novella or just a short story?
Novella.
And now we're officially on to book 2, Howling Dark, which I brought with. So anybody who's been watching these videos, you probably know. Now, if you haven't, I do encourage you to go back and watch some of the other ones that we've done, especially in this series. But you should check out some of the stuff we're doing as well. There's a lot of really cool stuff out there. I'm starting to amass it actually on my shelf. Matt is way ahead of me on that front. Carlos, we have no idea. He doesn't want us to know the what he's got going on in the background.
He's just got like thousands of white board game boxes.
Yeah. It's actually just like loads of cash. It's just all of this illegal cash. No,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wait that down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Keep it on that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, they're just stacks of body bags.
Mm-hmm.
So. Filled with cash, of course.
Yes. Yeah. That's how. Yeah. You've heard of wallets, but that's not practical anymore. You got to bring a body bag full of cash to the bank.
Yeah, just only in coins though. That's the trick. You really gotta make him work for it.
Yeah, you're the one that's been hoarding all the pennies, right? We got rid of them, and you're like, I need them all.
Collector's item at this point, Matt. Okay, they're gonna be worth so much more in the future.
Pass those down generations upon generations.
But as always, thanks to everybody who's checking this out. I guess we should do the formal introductions. Welcome to Hobby Vomit. My name is Ian, and we have, I think it's on my side,
Matt. Hello.
And
Los.
Mm-hmm. Now we do also have Jonesy, who won't be able to join us tonight, very unfortunately, but should be able to catch us for the end of the book. So I got a few things I want to go ahead and just kind of quickly mention before we get into it. As always, we are going to be spoiling pieces of the book. This is not the full book. This is only about half the book. In fact, we actually stopped at the end of chapter 39. So for anybody who would like to kind of read along, please go and read the first 39 chapters and then come back and join us. We'll still be on YouTube waiting for you. And so now we're doing things a little bit different with Howling Dark. With the other books, like especially if you've seen Inner Laws and stuff, we do several different pieces for each book, kind of focusing on different parts. For Howling Dark, there's no like official parts. So effectively what we've done is we've just been reading it and trying to find kind of that spot that we thought was appropriate for basically cutting it off to do a video. We also have been trying to do just fewer videos for this particular series, just because I think really to have like a sort of long discussion, but also not to just put too much on Carlos and Josie. I think it helps a lot more to do just a few videos per book, not like 5 or 6 like what we've done with some of our books in Malazan. So we're trying to do about 2 videos, maybe 3 videos for the full-length novels. Now that might change just depending on how big the novels get or how much there is to talk about. But so far, it seems like doing about half of the book per video will be pretty good. So like I said, we're going to the end of chapter 39 in this one, and then we'll go to the end of the book for the next one, and then we might do a follow-up video where we kind of talk about where we talk about sort of our BARF scores and our ideas and how we think about how it fits into the whole series and things like that. But yeah, so this is your final warning. We are going to be going into what we've read, what we think about it. If you'd like to know what our thoughts are on the book as a whole, definitely check out the last video that we'll do on this one to kind of see the spoiler-free thoughts. But for this, we are going to go into spoilers. So spoiler alert. This is your time to pause. Other than that, I think we're ready to move into it.
Nice.
Okay, guys. How's it going? Anything else we need to mention, Matt?
Hey, how's it going? It's been a few weeks. Yeah. Good to see you. We're doing this again. No, I think that's it. I think you nailed it. Yeah, the title we'll put 1 through 39 in the title. And yeah. Before we get into spoilers, though, in case anyone wants to dip out before or once we get there, if they've not read it, do we want to just quickly say spoiler free, just general vibes? What did you think of the first half of this book? You know, kick us off.
I can go ahead. No. Carlos should do it. Carlos should do it. Go for it, man.
Sure. So I think that after the novella refresher, the book 1.5, the prose was definitely different in this second book, and I think that getting back into it was awesome. Like having that extra novella really widened the perspective, and it felt like fitting into a glove, I guess, like an old glove. So I really enjoyed the first half of this book. So awesome. That's basically it. Yeah. You should definitely read it.
The reason why I was saying Carlos should definitely do it is because, so, viewers won't know this, but Carlos has been ahead of us. And so in our Discord, he's been like cheerleading the book. He's like, guys, it's so good. It's so good. You gotta keep reading, guys. So yeah, Carlos has like been bringing all the energy and optimism to the read, which has been really cool. I think my overall impressions is, I will say, I don't know yet if I think this book is going to score much higher than my previous book. I think it is definitely going to score higher than what I've rated the novella and then the first book, The Empire of Silence. I think it's definitely going to score higher. I don't know if it's going to score kind of in that 4 to 5 range for me, but I do see a lot of improvement, and I have overall I've been having a lot better of a time with this particular book, and I'm enjoying it a lot more than I enjoyed Empire of Silence. I think a big piece of that is just because it felt from the start and has felt all the way through. We just have more characters, and it just feels like there's greater sort of wealth there. And so I see some definite, like, it really feels like an improvement in terms of the series over the previous books. And that gives me a lot of like hope for future books too. Just makes me feel like if this is what keeps happening, if we just kind of keep incrementally improving this way, it's going to be a phenomenal series for sure.
Yeah. Yep. To echo kind of what you guys were saying, I think I've been the lowest maybe on the first 2 books scores wise. And while I wouldn't say I love this book so far, but I do think in like, if we were to score in the 4 categories, I think it's better than the previous 2 in all 4 categories. I would say I'm really enjoying it. Like, not in love, but I think there's a lot of promise. This one, like you said, there's a lot more characters that I'm enjoying. And it just feels like there's drive. Like, I feel like we're going somewhere without the, like, we're restarting again. I feel like we are on, like, a linear path here, and that's exciting, coupled with the character work improving. So, yeah, really enjoying it. Excited to see where it goes. I know this book has a reputation for ending pretty strong, so yeah, I'm definitely excited to continue reading for sure. So cool. So those are spoiler free thoughts. So if you've not read it, go read it. It is worth it. If you're on the fence, I would say after Empire of Silence or The Lesser Devil, I think you should pick this up and try it. I think there's a lot of improvement. So okay,
for sure.
Let's jump into it. Do you want to give so Ian, you read this most recently. Do you want to give a little high level overview? I do have something if you don't, but I know I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah, for sure. No, so essentially where Empire of Silence ended, keeping in mind that the novella that we read has to deal with Crispin, and so it is not continuing the story from the first one. So this basically picks up where Empire of Silence left off, sort of. So just as a reminder, where Empire of Silence left off, Hadrian, the Myrmidons, and several others like Valka were all boarding a ship to pretend to basically go away, pretending to be a mercenary company, taking the Cielcin captives with them in hopes of finding Vorgossos and being able to establish contact with the Cielcin. So in this first half, what we basically see is Hadrian continuing this pursuit. But we actually kind of start off like 50 years almost in the future of where that began. And then we kind of see Hadrian and company kind of at, you should say, approaching the breadcrumbs that they need in order to find Vorgossos. And so they actually make first contact with what are called the Extrastellarians, and is sort of the challenges and difficulties in this adventure that they have to go through in order to finally make their way to Vorgossos. And it ends, I can never say that the name the same way twice, but then it basically ends Vorgossos. And then chapter 39 basically ends with Hadrian and crew finally making it there to encounter the king of Vorgossos, which is called the Undying, and being revealed to them that he does in fact actually know the prince that Tanarin, this Cielcin noble slash priest, is beholden to. And so finally, Hadrian's bets are paying off, but not in the way that he expected.
Oh yeah, Tanaran knows Prince Aranata.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exciting part. We traveled from place to place to place to place to place, but I loved it.
Yeah, and there were a few other places in between. So
there were some places in between. Yeah, I can't forget those.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, where do we wanna kick it off? I mean, I take it away.
Yeah, so I think we were thrown in with in the beginning of the book there, or maybe was it Matt? Were you the one, or was Josh the one that sent the little prologue pieces in the chat?
Yeah, so the special editions have some extra content in the beginning to kind of just to ground the reader a little bit more, because events have taken place since we left them, and they talk about it. But to me, I'm super glad he added that in, because I think I would have been pretty confused, or more confused, the way he writes it.
And these were letters or transmissions between a couple of different characters. One being Basander Lynn, and the other being Rain Smythe. I think was it Linda Smythe?
Yep.
The Knight Tribune from the Empire. Yep. So.
Yep.
And they did detail out a couple of interesting things. So they did kind of throw us in this book with a couple of factors. One, they acquired a Norman group, and the Normans are real mercenaries out there in the extras areas. I forget what the Extrastellarian areas. And they regularly deal with the inhabitants of the Extrastellarian planets and trade routes and all that stuff. But they did acquire this Norman group by attacking what I'm gonna guess, because I wasn't too clear on this in the book, is they attacked a group. Does anybody remember the name? Starts with an F. It's not Pharos. Is it Pharos?
There's an incident on Pharos.
Yeah, so there's some kind of incident on Pharos, and where specifically the Red Company, which is Hadrian's made-up mercenary company that has all of the credentials and stuff,
in which
that the
he's
Empire
like the
created.
Acting leader.
Yeah. Correct.
Yeah.
He is the acting leader of that mercenary group, and they took out another group that was I don't know what their crime was, but the main force that is currently under the Red Company, under a captain called Octavia. She had was under somebody's thumb essentially, and so when she was removed, or when the oppressor was removed, she devoted her and her force to the Red Company.
Mhm.
So I think that's kind of like where they dump you out. And if anybody else
Yeah.
has any input or correct me if I'm
Yeah.
wrong.
No, yeah.
Yes. So if, essentially, to kind of how I kind of understood it was that you have Utavia Corvo, who is the leader of this Norman company, and there's many of them, and they essentially worked for, I think it was like Bedaron or Belderon,
Something. Yeah.
who is essentially this like lavish king who or lord who effectively does not care about the well-being of anybody, but they're essentially working for him, but they're trapped and they're essentially like captives, and so he treated them extremely poorly in all kinds of ways, and there's a lot of implications that that he mistreated Octavia Corvo specifically, abused her and her body and things like that, and they essentially did not have a way to escape because they don't have a ship or anything like that. But this lord was actually outside the empire, so this Red Company, which is fictitious, they do have official funding since they have been commissioned by a Knight Tribune, and the Knight Tribune voice, their authority carries the authority of the Emperor, and that's Smythe. And so, upon kind of reaching this group, and we're sort of given some implication that Hadrian really doesn't like this group, and then also like Hadrian was taken captive while down there trying to find information. They were effectively given the green light to support a resistance that had been brewing. And it's kind of a reversal of roles where there's resistance brewing against the king who want to join the empire. And so they effectively killed the Lord, ran a coup on his government, and then freed these Norman mercenaries who then joined them. And then to top it all off, they took a bunch of his stuff. Like they took a lot of his stuff,
Including
like
his ship.
a whole ship,
Yeah.
like a whole bunch of other stuff. So
Another
yeah. I
noteworthy
also
thing is that Hadrian is
yeah.
the one to like pull the trigger on this guy and blast
Yep.
him. Like so
Yep.
another death for Hadrian. Another
Yep.
kill.
I also love
Right.
that after taking the guy's ship, Basander Len, who is the imperial authority on this, uh, decides I'm actually gonna take that ship, and you guys can have my ship.
Mhm. Yeah. So they went from what, 2 ships to 3, or one? No, they went from 1 ship to 3.
Ship to 3. That's
Yeah.
correct.
So they got a little fleet building, but
Yep.
and then yeah,
Yeah,
Basander's being a
so
little pissy to Smythe. He doesn't like he doesn't like that Hadrian
Yeah.
gets to front the Red Company, and
Mhm.
he's letting her know that he's sleeping with Janan, and he also thinks that he's probably sleeping with Octavia, and it's just being a little like he's butthurt. He's super butthurt about Hadrian's like fake
Yeah.
leader position, I think.
Well, we should mention Janan. So, because we didn't mention that one, but Janan is the captain of Jadians, and so Jadians is another group. They're like Spartans in a way. They're very militaristic and very strong, but they do cooperate with the Empire, and they're specifically allied with the Empire when it comes to the Cielcin threat. The other thing that we found out, which was kind of interesting, was that the Normans, since they're on the fringe, where Exosalarians are, they have had many of their worlds burned by Cielcins. So they feel specifically slanted and motivated in this particular case to try to figure out what's going on and try to hopefully save future worlds. So you're gonna have 3 factions, yeah. And Hadrian loves to call Basanderlin Commandant because it's a fake title that
Yeah, it's like
Hadrian
lesser
has.
than him, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just like because he's not actually the commandant, but he's like the leading authority, and then other guys like he just like keeps changing the role that he calls him by just to basically keep like needling him, which is really funny.
But Sander definitely thinks like it's going to Hadrian's head, like the
Yeah.
the fake position, which
Yes.
it might be it might be. But yeah, he's also, I think Basander is people have been in and out of cryo because it's been 48 years when we pick back up, and they at this point they're like barely any closer to where they were 48 years ago. This was like a side quest for them. This the freeing of the Normans, and so Bassander's definitely on edge as far as like it's becoming more and more like, what are we doing? Sealson are destroying worlds, and what are we doing? We're no closer than we were. So he's on edge because of that. He doesn't like the hate. He's just yeah, he's not in a good spot right now.
And notably, I think there's only a little bit of a mention of this, but he really should be in cryo. There's actually not a good reason for him not to be. I think at the time that Hadrian wakes up, the way they do it is they typically will like, stagger wake ups. So it makes sense that Bassander Lin would already be awake and would have been awake for several weeks. But he's been awake much longer than that. And a lot of it just has to do with the fact that they're still getting transmissions and they will get updates whenever worlds have been attacked. So he's essentially like intentionally not putting himself in cryo as almost kind of like a type of like honor, self-punishment. Like he feels like responsible for these planets are being lost, and he just doesn't want to go into cryo because he feels like he's ignoring what's happening out in the universe by doing that. So he just lets himself stay awake.
Is it the entire time? I can't remember. He has been out.
Not the entire time, but
Okay.
he's been out of cryo for a large portion of the 48 years, and at the time that I think at the time that Hadrian wakes up, he's been out of cryo for like months.
Yeah. Same with like Switch.
Just
I
and
know
like
Switch is like a man now.
yeah, well, and Switch is Switch. Switch has been out of cryo quite a bit too. But like I think the thing that they had mentioned is that really people should have only been out of cryo for a couple of weeks by the time that Hadrian woke up, because I think the last time they started waking people was about 3 weeks prior, because that's when like Switch and them were woken up, and then like the drop that Bassander's actually, or Valka drops that Bassander's been awake for like months and months and months. So he was actually awake as like one of only a few people maybe that were actually awake. So he spent months like on that ship while everyone was in cryo, basically by himself, just like reading out, like we're basically just trying to message people super long distance, and then just like reading out what was going on in the rest of the galaxy, just kind of tormenting himself over how little progress they've made.
So do we know how long they've been? Because I do remember it does say that Switch is now like, I think older than Hadrian.
Yep.
So at some point he had to have been out for.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
you don't
believe
keep
they've
growing
accumulated.
him, right?
I think they've accumulated something like 12 years.
Okay. Yeah, because he's like a young man now, I guess. Because he was pretty young when we left
He was like 17.
the other place. I don't remember the name.
And Mesh, they were like, he was like
Mesh,
17
yeah.
on Mesh.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, let's start with that. What do you guys think? We finally get going at the end of the last book, and then it's just like, 48 years later. It's just like, dang, all right.
Yeah, they did do a little time jump, which I when you're dealing with ship travel, and especially in this book, in this world, I think it's necessary to do some sort of time jumping. But
yeah,
I don't know. I think I'm curious to see what y'all's perspective is about the time jumps there.
I think I like it. It was a surprise for sure starting out like that, but to me, it kind of shows the scope of like, I think it weighs heavier when we talk about Sealson, the war between humans and Sealson, that it's just like, yeah, for us and for Hadrian, it was like, boom, 48 years later, but it's like, what are the consequences of going to sleep for 48 years and us being no closer to your goal? It's like, there are real things happening out there, and the world moves on, and to me, it broadens the scope even more. So it was kind of cool, of just like, we might use this a lot, this could be a jump between every book, and that's the reality of this mission. It is a big mission that is going to take a long time to complete. So yeah, it didn't bother me. Didn't bother me at all. I was surprised by it, but I did enjoy it.
We saw something similar in book 1 with the jump to a mesh where like, almost, I think it was like 12 years or something had passed, maybe more. I can't remember specifically how long it had been.
I think it was like 32 or something.
I think it was like, I think you're right. I think it was like 30 years. that had jumped forward. So we had seen something like this before, so I wasn't too surprised. And I will say I actually did not read the excerpt that you had posted until after I was already through all of the stuff with the previous. And I didn't find it that jarring. You kind of just have to roll with it. You're like, okay,
Yeah.
I don't really know much context here, but I get the point, right?
Yeah.
He saved her. There's a tight kinship, so I think it's relatively easy to roll with it if you're okay. If you're that kind of reader and you're okay with it, which I am. Now I would say as far as the time jump goes, I think for me it would be very different, except that I think that Christopher Ruocchio actually does a really good job of making that an embedded part of his, like a core part of the story and the world. I mean, maybe not the story, but like the world building. Like time is a theme that's very consistent throughout this book in particular, but like the implications and impact of them spending that long in cryo are really baked into the world in a lot of different ways, like the way it impacts family kinships, the ways that the nobles use genetics, specifically like the Chantry and the Emperor use genetics to lengthen the lives of the Palatines because it makes this kind of thing less significant for them. And
That was
then
one thing I was thinking
also,
of is like in
yeah,
theory, since starting book one, Hadrian has been in cryo for like an entire human lifetime.
right.
Like that.
And he
Which is
could
like
still go back home and his family would still be alive. And that's the thing is like like non-genetically modified person, like this would almost be unfathomable. Like you would never commit to this kind of life unless you were truly a loner, because there is no way that you would ever see any of your friends or family or anything ever again. You would be completely out of touch with the world, right, except for those that are on board the ship with you. But for Palatines, this is kind of how things are, and they live for just so long that this is another way that they sort of like flex over non-Palatines, that this kind of travel is possible. But when you consider the other implications, like the other revelations that we got too, it's kind of crazy. Like one of the big ones that hit for me was finding out that the emperor has in his fleet ships that travel thousands of times faster than all of the other ships that are commanded by Palatines, even. And now, granted, that's probably one of the reasons for that is control. But I mean, think about their right. They're spending years in cryo. Even right now, when they're fighting like a war, like a genocidal war against Yeltsin, and that is not what he like. The emperor does not let his soldiers or these houses use that kind of technology, right? They have to spend that long in cryo, even though that technology would be a massive help to them. He won't because that's his stuff. It's like that's really fascinating
yeah.
to me. And so I think Chris Rocker does a really
I
good
think
job of
it's
betting
under
it.
his employ. I just doesn't. I think it's just rarely used. I think only because if that technology would fall into the wrong
Yep.
hands, or like that ship could be recovered by I have no idea, but it's just it feels like um that he would use it, but only on his like best groups of soldiers.
could be
Yeah.
the
I
resources
don't.
to go that fast too are harder to
Right.
find, and it's
Could be.
Yeah,
But
and I'm not.
I think. Oh, good. Good, Carlos.
Oh, no, no, no. I'm sorry. What was I thinking? Whenever he was trading. Okay, so never mind. I don't think this was a part of the first half.
okay.
We
I,
didn't
I
we
was
didn't
going
hear
to say
about
that.
Delos again, did we? And the uranium that he
Only in brief
Maybe,
passing.
yeah. Super
So we
brief.
were introduced to a new term. The preenage, I think how they
Peer
pronounced it.
oh
Peerinage.
yeah,
Peernage.
Is
Oh, of the
yeah,
king.
yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
And so that was we kind of came to understand that was really significant because Hadrian encounters a whole room full of nobles and they effectively all bow to him. I mean, not
Right.
actually, but in deference. Um, because he's from Delos, and so he's part of the peerage. So like, we did learn about that, and that's like, I think the only time Delos was mentioned.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. But I was just gonna say that I would imagine that the Emperor is not ignorant of the fact that the extrasolarians have equivalent or even better technology, And I also have to wonder if they're aware of the fact that the Cielson can travel that fast too, because it was implied that the Cielson can also travel quite fast, faster than in the entirety of the Empire's fleet is currently traveling.
Mm.
So I just thought that was really fascinating. But again, if these kind of elements like weren't there, and it was just sort of like 50 years later, no big deal, I think I'd be like, well, hold on a second, like it kind of is a big deal.
Yeah.
But it is like a core part of the theme, and like it really does weigh on the characters, and so I really enjoy it. Actually, I love like seeing how that plays out in the story.
Yeah. Well, I think that this part has kind of like three major set pieces, if you will. So maybe we can kind of group each set piece into a little discussion. So we got the first set piece, which is on the fleet of ships, with the three groups basically. Then we've got them. The three groups and the Painted Man. We'll include the Painted Man in that. So first trickles of information. Then maybe just the traveling to Vorgassos and then Vorgassos.
That's a great. Yeah, it's a good segments, I think.
Yeah. So let's start with we'll go in order. So to me, I loved the Painted Man. I thought the Painted Man was very cool, almost like Joker-esque a little bit. Really like the stuff he does with like putting his hands up to have like the smile on it, and like just very creepy. Like I thought the description of him was great, and it was one of those I was like, I gotta know what people have like created fan art, and the fan art is pretty sweet for the Painted Man.
Oh, the Painted
I
Man.
can imagine.
That's great. That's a
very
great.
cool. But yeah, we got a big encounter, big action set piece on the where I can't remember where they are. Rustum, which is a planet that's already been ravaged by the Cielson. And this city is like made up of ships, like desecrated ships, which is a really cool. I thought that was one part that he did great. I thought the descriptions of the city were awesome. Really enjoyed all of that. And yeah, we get kind of a showdown with a bunch of SOMs and the Painted Man. And we get a character death kind of right off the bat.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, isn't Gen the one that was kind of bullying them when they first got into the Colosso?
Yes, and yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in Empire Silence.
Yeah.
And so, I will say I wasn't sure. I mean, usually with these kind of stories, you can expect like there's gonna be a few character deaths. But yeah, no, and when Ged died, and you could really kind of see with the characters how they were dealing with that, like Hadrian and the other Myrmidons. I thought it was handled really well, and like, yeah, I mean, even when I read that, I was like, I even thought like I was pretty sure Gen was like the one he had to fight in order to like win over the crowd back in the the Colosso and everything like that, and like how far they've come together. And I think also Gen was one of the people who never was going to be able to leave because he was a criminal who had a life sentence. They would never let him go, but yet through this circumstance, he's able to get on the ship, right? And then there was that whole conflict in the first book of like they didn't want to tell him that they were going to try to leave because they knew he wouldn't be able to come with them, and then this whole thing happened. So like to see him,
just like, who you want to bring? He's like,
yeah,
them.
Yeah.
She's like, all right. He's
Yep.
like, all right, Ken's going with them.
Yeah, I love
And
the end of
then-
that book. Just
yeah. And then you take a Myrmidon, and he's like literally just shot in the back by a shapeshifter. It was just like, oh yeah, it was very well handled. And yeah, I definitely was just like, this sucks. Like like not in a good way, right? I'm like, I don't want him to die. Like I wanted to like, Gin was fun, and like he was cheering people up, and like, you went to like the honorable like death, and it's like, no, like sometimes people just get like tricked this way, right? And this is how it goes. And yeah.
I don't know if I felt super connected with Gen. I do like how it was handled with the characters surrounding Gen. But right, this is like 48 years we didn't spend with them, to where I just don't. I believe the relationships they had. I just don't know if I was just like, oh yeah, there goes one. There. So, but yeah, I agree. I think it was handled well. I thought it was a good set piece with the betray, because there was a betrayal, right? One of them betrays him.
No, well, it's not that it's a
No.
betrayal. It's that the Painted Man. So I don't know who. It's kind of implied that the Painted Man made himself look like Hadrian, and then he shot Gen in the back.
It wasn't Hadrian. It was somebody else, I think.
Was the
yeah, I don't remember.
was
I
the one
just
of the other
wrote down that. Oh no, so never mind. I wrote down that Gen dies and Hadrian's captured by a peltast that betrayed them. I don't remember. It's been
Yeah.
weeks, but that's just what I wrote down.
Yeah, the peltas is just another word for one of the guards, or one of the.
Because weren't they supposed to have like
Yeah.
a sniper crew and something? Maybe
They
when
did. They did have a sniper crew. The problem was that the Painted Man escaped down the stairs, a stairs that was like kind of at the back end that they hadn't guarded, and so then Gen and another one went like by Hadrian's command went after him, and then they got ambushed by a couple of SOMs, and then Gen loses his weapon in the scuffle. We don't know how. We just know that he just like literally ripped the SOMs to pieces. Like he ripped their arms off with his bare hands, and was shot in the back. Which Hadrian, gets ambushed by a fellow guard who turns out to be the Painted Man in disguise. And so Hadrian later comes to the conclusion that the Painted Man probably made himself look like a friendly to shoot Gen in the back. Yeah.
makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool.
Because he's a full-on shapeshifter.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So we also get some information about Vorgassos. So we get some information before Hadrian gets captured, just when they're talking. And that's when we learn that Vorgassos is run by the Undying. And we also learn that it's a planet that does not have a sun, and that's why it's so hard to find, because it's just black of space. There's no light. So yeah, we find that out. Then the attack happens, and then Hadrian gets captured and is in like a little bunker with the Painted Man. They have a little chat.
Yeah, they're on a ship. It's like a
almost like a
almost
gondola,
It's like
right?
a tram.
Yeah,
It's like a tram.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
What did you guys think about before we move on that? What did you guys think about the SOMs?
Oh, that was sweet.
Like that was kind of creepy.
Yeah,
like
That was a real
like in a
creepy.
tea house. There's a bunch of people like having like dinner or like food or whatever, like on the side, and then they all just like stop and they just stand up, and it's just like zombie attack.
Yeah, because Hadrian.
Well,
even
it was
even
mentioned like two or
this is
three
weird.
times before, like when they were walking through, they were just like, did they not see like these crazy things? Because it looked like they were just not paying attention to them whatsoever, right?
Yep.
So
yeah, it's super cool, and especially with what we kind of learn later on, with like Karn and everything.
Yeah.
It just makes SOMs pretty terrifying and a much larger threat than maybe it's like, oh yeah, you thought this little patio scuffle was big. Well, there could be way more, and now it's like, is anyone? It's like what's the Battlestar Galactica thing? What do they call it?
oh yeah, I forget what they're called, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's like someone walks around the corner. I could just,
Uh,
are you kind of thing.
Yeah.
Between SOMs and homunculi that can shapeshift now, apparently.
Mhm.
It's just it's pretty wild. So yeah, I thought that was cool.
Well, and it makes me wonder for later too. I've been thinking about this, and well, I can talk about this more when we get to it, but I kind of wonder if an SOM is what you get whenever you don't have like a person to put into it. I know that there's other ways he makes SOMs, but I kind of wonder if like effectively what is happening to give people like eternal life is that they're just making SOMs for people to be put into. It's just like one thought I've had, but we can talk more about that when we get to it.
I have a pretty big prediction.
Yeah.
That is, I'll be interested to hear what you guys think. But ultimately, I think other than us learning about that Vorgassos doesn't have a son, and it's run by the Undying, and later on when they're chatting in the tram, he does tell Hadrian that imperialists pilgrimage there to get their desire, the greatest desires granted. We don't know what that is at this point. But ultimately, I think after that, I don't remember how he kills the Painted Man, but he does somehow.
Yeah, so And well, we're reminded again of this like theme that's in the books of the fact that the Palatines are kind of like homunculi themselves in a way, right? Because they're genetically altered, and so there's this whole like I do that theme has been really present in this book, and I do really like it of like what does it mean to be human? Because you have the homunculus and you have the Palatines who are genetically altered,
Chimera.
who are effectively sterile. Then you've got chimeras, but then you've got people like Valka, which is like where do we put them on the spectrum of chimeras? So it is, I think, a really kind of fun theme and very true for sci-fi. But effectively, the Painted Man underestimates Hadrian because even though he knows he's genetically altered, he didn't account for a few things. One of the more important things he didn't account for was the fact that Hadrian has just come from a planet with higher gravity. So Rustum has like zero point 0.6 or zero point 0.8 Gs and a mesh at like 1.3. So Hadrian's actually significantly stronger on Rustum than you would expect for normal people. And so after he overcomes, like after he kind of his body gets his feeling back from being stunned, he's able to grab a very large rock and just fling it at the Painted Man, smash his face in, which is not something that person would normally lift. I think he said it was like 35 or 40 pounds or something like that, but he just lifts it with one hand and throws it like a fastball, no problem.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Just absolutely demolished.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then escapes with, not really information that they were hoping to get. Because he basically goes back to the ship, and this is where more conflict comes up because Bassander Lynn's like, cool, what'd you get? He's like, let me tell you, there's a planet, and there's no sun, so we just kind of got to find it. And Bassander Lynn is not super stoked about that.
Yeah.
And Jeanette,
I did feel like...
Yeah.
I don't know if like Carlos, if you had anything with this one, but I did feel like that whole dialogue was a little bit weird when he comes back. Because he's effectively
Very
just like
weird. He's
sitting
holding on.
Yeah.
He's holding on to the information. I did think it was weird, but he mentions like there's a time and there's a place to actually reveal that information. And he's trying to time it like his father would to have like the last, the smoking gun of the conversation essentially. So when he comes back with it, so whenever he killed the Painted Man, he took his terminal. It's a terminal that he was using to try and communicate, or he doesn't know what he was trying to do with it, but
it's like
it was,
actually like in his head.
Yeah, well,
it's like screwed into his head. So
I thought he put it on like an earpiece, but
No,
I don't know.
no.
Maybe
No,
okay, it's in his head.
He would plug in. He would jack in.
Okay.
But like the terminal was in his head, so he like smashed his head open,
and then just ripped out this piece, right?
Mhm.
Anyway, so he has that, and he has not yet revealed it, and in this big meeting, and in this meeting, Bassander Lind is the one that reveals, hey, we are going to rejoin with the fleet, and that was like real, obviously extremely detrimental towards the mental health of Hadrian, since that was his whole. This is what he's been working towards, and now it seems like Bassander Lind has had enough worlds dying while they were out on this 48-year or whatever it was. I forget, something like that. Side quest in Bassander Lind's eyes that hasn't really gained very much traction. And whenever he's saying all this stuff, that's whenever Hadrian decides to use the smoking gun, saying, "Hey, actually, we got more than what you're saying." Mm-hmm. And then Bassander Lind says the obvious, like, "Why didn't you just give us this in the very first place? Like, why did you wait for this?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
still,
in Hadrian's mind,
for him though, because he's still like, cool, that's not enough. We're gonna go back, which I found really. So this happened in the first book too. With he was like, when he first introduces Valka to us as a reader, he's like, oh, but we'll talk about her later. And then like the next page, Valka shows up, and I was like, oh, I guess it's later. And then when we first meet Bassander Lynn, I marked it because I was like, when I was reading this with Bree, I was like, I thought it was like he was gonna have a big betrayal and they were gonna get close. I'm like, is this it? Like, is this it? So like, I found it again because it was the same thing. He like built up this whole thing. So I'm just curious what you guys think. So here's what it says in Empire of Silence about Bassander Lin. It says, "You have heard no doubt that we met as rivals and fought a duel for the command of our army. It is not so. No, I met the Phoenix at table one quiet evening in Borisevo. Bassander Lin, my last friend, my enemy, hero of the rout of Perfugium, where Hadrian half-mortal failed. Veteran of 100 battles, knights, captain, traitor. He would be all of those things, but not yet. That night he was only a dinner guest, as was I."
I don't think that's happened yet, though. That's what it sounds like to me.
Oh, jeez.
Which is weird because
that's
it's
the
like-
first time that I'm hearing it and me hearing it. Oh my gosh, dude.
Yeah, so
That's crazy.
To me, it's strange because like the way Hadrian is talking about this part that's happening in Howling Dark is that this is a huge betrayal to him. He is complete. They are completely at arms to the point that it leads to the fight we're about to talk about, to where it's like I'm at a complete loss as to how we are going to become friends from here. So I don't understand how we are going to become friends. Bassander Lin and Hadrian at this point.
Yeah, I kind of interpreted it slightly differently. I was thinking about because I was thinking about Bassander Lin's introduction of Empire Silence. I do not, at least to me, I do not think we've encountered that scene yet that Hadrian's talking about.
The betrayal.
The betrayal, yeah. I don't think it's come up yet. I do think that, at least to me, it was strongly implied that even though Bassander Lin is under orders, which we should mention that he is under orders, technically him and Janan both are duty bound to return to the whatever group, 347th or whatever. They are duty bound because they've been ordered. It's kind of feels like that Bassander Lin really encouraged those orders.
Yeah, he doesn't like
Yeah, and that's what it felt like to me. It felt like Bassander Lin was like underselling the mission in order to get someone higher than Smythe to basically say, hey, look, this mission's failed. Scoop it up. Come back home. You're under, we're ordering you back to regroup to basically make it feel like they need to cut their losses. That's what it felt like.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in terms of them becoming friends, I don't know. But I think it's still possible because, I mean, at the end of it, they dueled and neither one of them killed each other. And they certainly could have. Either one could have killed the other and both of them held off. So maybe there's a road where... Well, yeah, but like...
Hadrian goes to shake his hand and Bassander Lin sticks out a nub and
he'll have his hand though, because I mean they can just literally reattach it. So it is like Hadrian also like cuts off his hand, yes, but he does it also knowing that hands can be reattached, especially with a clean cut like that.
I can't for some reason I thought that I don't remember Bassander not taking a chance. I thought he just lost.
No, he like specifically could have killed Hadrian, and he was like, and he told him, he was like, yeah, just give it. He's like, here's your time, just give it up. And then Switch shoots Bassander in the face. He's got a shield on, and then that's what gives Hadrian the moment to claim his sword and then cut off Bassander's wrist.
I guess to correct myself, he gives him a chance to surrender, but I think he would have killed Hadrian if he had a chance, rather than let him leave. I don't think he wants him to actually leave. He would have killed him.
No.
Yeah, in that moment, I think he does say like, "Hey, like let me just take you."
Yeah, but he didn't have to bring Hadrian back. He can't let him go, but he doesn't have to bring him back. He could have just killed him, especially after Hadrian had already killed 3 soldiers. Mm-hmm. He could have just killed him right then and there. He didn't have to ask for the surrender.
Yeah.
So I just basically, and then I'm saying it's possible. Like there could be a world where Bassander like rescues Hadrian or whatever, right? There could be something there where they fight alongside each other again. We don't really know.
Yeah, I hope so, because it definitely set him up to where like this is going to be a major plot point of or arc of this story, and then it's just like, oh, they just aren't even friendly towards each other at all in this book. At least up to the part where we are. They are enemies, I would say, or rivals, I would say, rather. They are working towards the same goal, but they are not friendly towards each other and actively get on each other's nerves and stuff. So, yeah, I don't know. And then they separate. So, yeah, interested to see where he went. But I wasn't expecting and maybe it is just because that's the way Hadrian talks about it, as a betrayal. He feels betrayed by Lynn because he's giving up on the mission, and he is being, just like Hadrian always is, extremely dramatic. And so maybe I was like, is this it? Like, this is the betrayal? So yeah, I found it interesting because I kind of wanted, when we first meet Basander, I like him in the first book, but like he's just not likable at all here. So I was like, oh, this is going to be a fun character. He's set up a plot point for us. Like, we know he's going to betray Hadrian at some point, and so I'm excited to see them like form a friendship and get close. With me knowing that he's going to get betrayed and that tension is going to be huge, but there's no tension as of right now because there just aren't. There's no relationship between the two of them like I thought there was going to be. So I hope he does come back and they somehow, mend that relationship and get close or something.
I could see this kind of being part of what we need though when the betrayal comes back around, like when the betrayal happens. This is the way I can look at it, is like, because if they become friends after this, then this will always be sort of a lingering part of their past. And then when that betrayal happens, you just have this whole mixture, right? Of, it wasn't just like, oh, we were friends and when we journeyed, they betrayed me. Like, we know that there was this tension between them, and they had these difficulties that they still haven't been able to resolve, even despite their friendship. And so I think it could make, I'm hoping, right? I think it could make for a really good story depending on how well it's executed.
Yeah. And I think, for the record, I do think the betrayal is going to be very similar to what this one was. I don't think Basander Lynn is going to be like, screw the Empire, I'm going to just kill a bunch of people. I think he is going to betray the mission again in a very detrimental way for what Basander thinks is the greater good. It seems like that's the character Basander is. So I definitely think when he calls him a traitor, it's not a traitor to the Empire, but just a traitor to their mission, maybe.
Yep.
But I did find that interesting. It was a fun little, fight. And another really major part is, like, we leave half the people we've met, basically. No, that's not true, but a lot of the people we've met are left behind. Only Tanaran, he's the only Sea Elson that makes it. They smuggle him out. Yep. And it's really just the Normans and then the Myrmidons and Valka. So Janan, love interest, is left behind. All the other Sea Elson, which who knows what's going to happen to them under like Basander and Janan. Probably not good things if they're going back to the Empire. I imagine not great things. But what did you guys think of Janan? We got a romance, a non-Valka romance.
Well, they obviously fell after the events at Pharos, I think it was, where Hadrian, after he killed somebody, he was probably pretty down low and losing all those people, or losing some kind of force or whatever. And Genon helped him through that a little bit and basically took comfort in her, and ends up growing to really like her. So I think it was pretty good. It's good to have another love interest other than the Doctor, right? Right. So I like having that additional aspect. It kind of makes him more real to me. So
her
I liked
reaction when he
Genon.
was awesome. I thought, really, like, she's like shooting at the ship, like crying and screaming his name. I was like, whew, dang.
Yeah, right. Like, just like, oof, man,
like,
you burned it. You didn't even like. there's no sweet kisses goodbye.
Mm-mm.
No, this is a full out screw you moment.
Yeah, I think he broke her heart.
Which is why we should definitely talk about whenever he does leave, because it's no small part. This is the first time that I think that he's, I don't know if he really reconciled it in his mind, but he actually kills 3 people whenever he's leaving.
Yep.
With his first antic, which was to basically use the lightsaber, use the high energy or the high matter sword, to cut the couplings that were holding some escape ships or something like that, or escape pod things, and scatter the forces that were gathered below him. and that was his kind of like, hey, I gotta make this distraction to get Tanaran and the people that were sent there onto a ship to get back to Octavia.
Yep.
So he ends up taking the lives of some of his own and the Empire's own soldiers. Yeah, and he has a plan for this, but he did not. I'm sure he did not plan to harm or injure or fatally injure some people on that ship.
Yeah, I agree. And he's speaking with Smythe behind Basander's back, and has permission to do this, but we don't really know how that's all going to go down. When Basander gets back, obviously he doesn't know that Hadrian's been speaking with Smythe. So, yeah, it is interesting, and I think he handles it. I think Ruocchio handles it pretty well. Like, I think Hadrian, after he does it, seems like every time he kills somebody, he has to go through the list of everyone he's killed.
Yeah.
Either accidentally or like he blames. I don't know if he blames himself for Cat, but that is one that does haunt him pretty often.
Which I appreciate. I liked Cat's death and how important it is to him.
Me too.
I think it makes his character a bit more appealing to me.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should haunt him.
Yep.
Maybe not Cat so much. I mean, I think what Cat represents, because obviously Hadrian didn't kill him, but I think the ones that Hadrian does, like he kills Gilliam and he kills the guy that's they took the pharaohs from, and I think even those are starting to be like, I'm killing people for this.
Yep.
Like,
And Uvenari, the Cielson
the captain.
Yeah, that's
a good point.
Yeah. Which another one's just like kind of self-defense, because the captain gets out and was like gonna kill Hadrian, and he does kill him out of self-defense, but it's like, would he be there if it weren't for Hadrian, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So and then now he's essentially dooming, I can't remember how many other Cielson were on board, but I think Hadrian probably thinks it's not going to end well for them. So that's quite a few more lives, maybe not human lives, but lives that he is, sacrificing in the name of the mission.
Yeah. Yeah, I overall really like Janan as a character. Is one of my I think my two big criticisms with what we've read so far. I saw this in the first book, and we're seeing it again here. Certainly would be something I'm hoping that with future books it'll continue to get worked on. But Christopher Ruocchio does a really good job with some of these arcs, where he's really good at the beginning and really good at the end, but the middle for me just kind of falls flat. I think Janan was introduced as a really, really interesting character, and I do like the fact that she has some animosity with Valka, even though like Valka and Hadrian have not mentioned like very much about their relationship at all to her. She just sort of knows.
She knows, yeah.
And she's like a soldier, and she's like, no, this is my guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so she seemed like a fun character, and to kind of go as well on their story. He had rescued her from prison, and she had done the same for him, vice versa. So they have a long history of like saving each other over that time period that we weren't with them. So they have done a lot for each other. So much so that Hadrian lives on their ship, and I mean, granted, he's staying with her, but he lives on their ship, and he actually recognizes the Jadians as more kin to him than the members of the Empire. And so it's like Myrmidons first, then Jadians. And they respect him as like, even though he's not an official commandant, they're the ones who actually respect him as being an authority figure. And they're like, they're always like wink, wink with him, like, cause they know what's going on with the captain. And so it was a really great introduction. And then the ending, like the very dramatic, like shooting, it was really good. The setup in between, though, for me just did not make sense. Like Janan's motivations and the contrast between the tension between her and Hadrian. I think that could have been set up a lot better. I think the way it was set up, it just makes it for me, it was too deferential to Hadrian. And I would have liked it to be, I would have liked Christopher to commit to the fact that Hadrian could have stayed with the Jadians. I think that for me that would have helped a lot if Christopher Ruocchio had committed to that. Instead,
By like bringing her with them.
no, by saying that Hadrian could have gone with Janan and stayed with the Jadians if they'd gone back. Instead, right at the end, before Hadrian officially commits to his plan, but Bisander and Janan and him are there, and he's like, "Yeah, but if we go back, I'm gonna have to go back to the 347th, aren't I, Bisander?" And Bisander's like, "Yeah, sorry, you're gonna go back to Imperial hands."
I see.
And like right in front of Janan is like, "Yeah, by the way," because like Janan was like, no, like trust me, no one can take you from me. And then Bisander's like, "No, actually, Hadrian is coming with us, and there's nothing you can do about it, and his life is basically over, and I will do my best just to make sure he doesn't get like sold back to the Mataros. But yeah, he's basically done." And I like because of that, I was like, there's like, of course he's leaving. Like there's now nothing for him. He cannot stay with Janan. He has no value or purpose, and he can only hope that the Chantry or the Empire will be nice to him, even though he has nothing to show for it. If instead had been like, if there had been a fight where Janan was like, basically like, "No, F you, Bisander, we're doing it this way. We're not, or we're done. Like Hadrian is coming with me," then that meeting that they have, like where he's like gathering his things and like he's kissing her, like then for me, it would have really felt like this betrayal. Rather than all of a sudden Janan's just like hopeful that the Empire of all people will like it'll go her way, even though it's already been made very clear to her that it's not. It's just, I don't know, it just didn't really work for me. But
I see what you're saying.
beginning and
I don't know if
great.
I didn't really have a problem with it, but I hear what you're saying, and like it does make sense why the middle felt not super fleshed out. I actually think it was written really well to where I like felt like I knew Janan in a very short time. I thought he wrote their relationship really well. It felt like they knew each other for a long time. And I hear what you're saying. I guess I just didn't catch that, but like to me, I thought, I do agree. The end, the bookends of their relationship were the strong part, and like, to me, it was just like, I thought the ending was awesome with her. Sad. It felt heartbreaking. And yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting. I don't think that's the last we'll see of her either. But better than him, Valka, for me. Okay. Anything else we want to? I think the action is pretty good. It's a little long, I think, sometimes for me. Some of the action scenes do go on. Like them escaping the ship is like, it's a long scene. From picking Tanaran to the moment they leave, it's long. But it's right. I think it's written well. I thought it was written pretty well. And anything else anyone wants to say about part 1, section 1?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I was just going to mention was just in terms of like the set pieces you laid out, where we have our first like true breadcrumb with the painted man and the encrypted evidence. But it is worthwhile to mention that it was encrypted. So, and that's kind of the thing that deflates the balloon, is the fact that they actually can't get into it. Now they are able to break it after
the Druid,
the
Dryad,
Ilex is able to finally,
Ilex, yeah.
Actually, Ilex, yeah. So she's able to get into it. But that's kind of what kind of causes some of the problems. Is it takes several days for that to actually take place, so the momentum deflates. And that's kind of what kind of creates the ending for our set piece, where now the factions must split.
Yep.
And then that kind of goes into part 2. So now we have the Normans, the Myrmidons, and Valka and Tanaran,
and Ilex,
that are all just but she's part of the Normans.
She's just like a homunculus.
Yeah, but she's from the same group.
Oh, yeah.
She comes from she's not from the Empire of the Jadians. She's from the same group.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is really interesting. This is a new kind of quote unquote race, but it's a homunculus. But they were bred with like chlorophyll, right? Like, so they have they're green. They're green people, basically.
She's Groot.
Literally like what you picture aliens to be. But
I picture her as Groot. personally.
Yeah. Oh, Groot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can kind of see that. Yeah, a little bit of Groot. I don't know what I picture her as in my head. I guess a little bit of like a plant person
Yeah.
or like
Yeah,
a
you could almost
foliage.
you guys ever seen Moana?
Mhm.
You know, like the goddess from Moana, who's just like
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but they were specifically bred for the purpose of long to be on a ship essentially, long distances in space because
Yep.
they can just sustain themselves from the sun, right? So
Yeah.
Yep. Just open a window, let
Yeah.
the sunlight in.
yeah. So I thought I actually really like Ilex as a character.
I did too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
So then we go to sleep for 7 more years because he's like, "Oh, you thought we were done? Nope. 7 more years have passed, which is crazy. Even though it's only 7 years, like you got to think about that. Basander Lin and them have made it. Well, I guess we don't know. They
No,
probably
I don't
haven't
think
made
they
it back
would have.
because it was 48 years for them to get where they were. Did they ever say how long it would take for them to make it back?
They did not explicitly, from what I remember, but we are to assume it's supposed to take like
Pretty long
I want
time.
to say like 12, 15 years or something
So
like
they're
that.
probably
Like it's
still
going
in
to take a
travel.
while. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's kind of what I meant when I said earlier about like how that kind of theme carries throughout the books where, because it kind of needs to hit you of like they're going to go regroup, yes, like because like worlds are burning to stuff, but it's still in a way almost like a futile effort. It's like, yeah, we're going to regroup like in 20 years,
Yeah.
30 years, right?
I think
Like,
that's kind of why Basander is like, we got it. Like, let's cut
we
it
got to
off
go
now.
now.
Yeah, because like the
Yeah.
longer we take, we're still think of how many worlds are gonna die or get raised by the Cielson in the time that we're just trying to get back. So yeah,
Which
it is
Gina
pretty easy.
actually really put a good perspective on that, right? Like she's a soldier too, so she understands where Basanderlin's coming from.
Yeah, I thought that when Janan and Hadrian have the talk about that, I thought that she felt like a really good in between. Like she's seeing both sides of it and is caught between it in a position where she doesn't really have a bunch of very much control over one way or the other. She just kind of has to roll with the punches, even if she doesn't like it, I think. So, yeah, I thought they handled that well. But yeah, so 7 years have passed, and I think they basically wake up because they are there at March Station, right? They've arrived at the coordinates.
and what a cool like introduction to our first like true extrasolarian location. So the after Ilex like broke the encrypted data, they found out about a bunch of different locations that are extrasolarian outposts. And they actually suspect that Mars Station is maybe one of the smaller ones or possibly larger ones. But they assume that like it's probably like a smaller station, but has a lot of like it's like a way station, like a big way station basically. But like when they're like thinking about the scales of things, what we get is like very different than I think what they were picturing, like what I was picturing, where they find a planet that's like 600. It's not even a planet, right? It's like literally like built out in space.
It's like a
And
weird,
it's like
almost like a space station kind of
yeah,
thing.
and it's like 600 miles long, which is just like yeah, it was so cool. Like when they were just like talking about the expansive things.
Yeah.
And so they go to Mars Station and they go down, and I got some super like cyberpunk vibes, super cyberpunk like
Cyberpunk and Blade Runner for
yeah,
sure.
yes, all the way through. It
But I
was
loved
very
it.
fun.
Yeah, it was super fun.
For sure.
One thing of note before they actually got down is when they're waking up from cryo, or whatever they call it. What do they call it? Fugue. Fugue. Is that Tanaran is now speaking human a little bit. Valka's just like, yeah, I've been teaching him, and Hadrian's
Yeah,
like,
Galstani.
what?
Galstani is the
Yeah.
standard.
Yeah, which is kind of pretty interesting. That because she's just been up a lot longer. I'm just like, yeah, I thought I'd teach him, and he is learning.
Which is the reason why she's on the ship, right? Or her quote unquote reasoning.
yeah, she's
Yeah.
there for exactly. I think she agrees with Hadrian that they should stop the war, stop the war. But
Yeah.
she's all about discovering this race and knowledge and all that. So yeah, it definitely makes sense for her character. But yeah, then they go down and I found it really interesting how Hadrian is so disgusted by people who modify their bodies.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, bruh, you were grown in a freaking vat tube, and you're like, he's just like, these animals, these devils, like he's disgusted by them. And I just found that really interesting for his character of like, it is a good flaw for him, I think. I was just like, bruh, read the room. Like you got people on you got a homunculus, you got Valka, and like, I don't know. I mean, I guess to be fair, these are people that are like spider people and shit.
The dude was a head with just spider arms, dude.
Yeah.
Like spider arms coming out, man. Like I would be freaked out, dude. Like, I'm not gonna lie.
Do you think it was like the toy from Toy Store that Sid has?
Yes. Oh my gosh, that's I didn't even think about that, but yeah, that's definitely that's definitely the vibe.
Yes. Well, and I think I really like it for Adrian, I will say, because I think it's one of those things where it's like he must reject them because they're a reminder of who he is and where he comes from and what the Chantry is doing with their like genetic manipulation of the Nobiles, and like the culture he was raised in. But also at the same time, there's this like quarrel that he is trying to wrestle through of him and the other, vat-grown individuals, homunculi, they do not have a choice in their origin. Whereas that's, I think, where like kind of part of the revulsion comes in is, as far as we know, all of these individuals have chosen to do this to their bodies. Whereas, in his particular case, or like with the Intis or like with the other homunculus, they never had a choice.
Yeah.
And so, I really like this like kind of part of him where he needs to wrestle with this fact, right, of like what these people are doing and what's happening in the Chantry and what's happening with his people and things like that. Yeah. I also we were introduced to homunculi in the first book, but I don't know if I'd ever asked it. What did you guys think about the fact that, I don't know if you maybe even never thought about it, but like the fact that they're called homunculi or like homunculus? Was that ever something that like was kind of interesting to you? Because I now that it's being brought up a lot more, I do find it really interesting that like that is their term for it.
All I can think of is Full Metal Brotherhood.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's basically what we see in Full Metal Brotherhood. Like, a homunculus as a term is like an artificially grown person, but there's an implication behind the term, which is that they're soulless. It's a soulless individual. And so I've always, the more that we're starting to be introduced to them, and especially like people like the Painted Man or like Ilex, where they're like designed for very specific things. This idea that you have these like artificial beings that like have this implication of being like soulless or different.
Yeah.
Is I think it's just really fascinating.
Yeah, it is super cool. But no, Alex has a soul. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
She's so sweet.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be sad.
Well, I'm not saying they believe that they're soulless, but like, yeah,
You believe it.
Yeah, no. She's got at least a plant soul, man.
Plant soul. Plants got
Got
souls.
the plant soul.
Yeah,
totally.
Okay, so they go down and he meets some man named or thing or person or thing called Sento, and basically is trying to get information about Vorgassos still, and Sento is not really wanting to give it up. So I just wrote down that he meets Sento, who informs him that Vorgassos is only known to the Exalted. Who at this point, there's the Undying, there's the Exalted. I can't remember. Are these the same?
No, the Undying is specifically the king.
And who's the Exalted?
The Exalted is all the like the over the top extrasolarians. They're the ones who go like they fully commit.
Okay.
So, but the people from Vorgassos, they're exalted. Many of the extrasolarians are exalted, but they are a faction of extrasolarians, and they are commonly known as the more extreme faction.
Gotcha.
Amongst the extrasolarians.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And so Hadrian basically offers him Tanaren's blood. He thinks that this is really the only price that he is going to accept, which is a pretty major. I think Hadrian reflects on it in a way that he needs to, because like what they could do is reverse engineer the blood and figure out what diseases affect it, so on. They could clone them. They could do whatever and any number of things. So he does struggle with that, but I think at the end of the day he decides I mean, if I don't, the mission is over. So I have to. And I enjoyed that scene up in the ship as well when they're, or I think he goes back to the ship when they go to take Tanarin's blood with him and Valka.
Yeah, and like, they literally all think it's a trap because there's no way they would sell passage for a vial of blood.
Yeah, because it's
See?
just
But
for
they do.
passage onto. It's for like their ship to be put on a ship
Yeah.
to be brought to Vorgassos.
Yeah, I actually thought that was kind of comedic. Where he's like, "That's like crazy expensive for a fare." He's like, "No, no, no, no. We're transporting the whole ship.
Yeah, the whole
like,
ship.
like we're putting you in another ship." It's like, whoa.
Yeah, at
Yeah.
first I was like,
Yeah.
"What is?" So it's like they're on
Yeah.
a ship and they docked on basically a really big ship,
Yes.
which is this March station,
Mm-hmm.
and then they're taking their ship and putting it onto a ship to then reach a planet.
Yep.
I was like, "Where?"
But like, it's like there's like several ships
Oh, yeah.
that are all going inside of another ship to transport
Yeah,
them, which
it's
is
a
called the
huge ship.
Enigma of Hours.
Yes,
Yeah.
gigantic ship.
Yeah. I also love that Hadrian calls them pretentious for he's like a Hadrian of all people. He's like, yeah, they're the pretentious ones. I mean, come
Yeah.
on, guys.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically that's exactly what happens next. Is that is that they go? I can't remember. So there's one part I do want to talk about because I think it's when they get to Vorgassos actually, because he meets with Sento and he meets with like 3 people that are all just like somebody he talks with that are genetically modified. So it's like Sento. Then there's like
who's a bone cutter.
Yeah.
He's a geneticist.
Mm-hmm.
And then
But he's
and then
also
he meets
modified
with,
himself, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, he like modified himself to like almost look like a rat person. And I love the comment where Hadrian's like, "How can you like do this business and you look terrible?" it'd be like a gardener who's like selling their services and their house, like their garden,
It's
just is
overgrown,
like
yeah.
completely destroyed, you
Yeah.
know, or overgrown. And then is it Brevo? I think is the next person they meet
The
with,
like
who is the
seer,
trade-
right? Basically like a seer, kind of like a
That
the person that
happens
trusts
on
the
the-
water.
That happens on the way. Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
when they
that
get to
happens on-
Vorgassos.
that happens on the way to Vergassos.
Oh, I thought it was on
Um,
Vorgassos after they touched down.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
on the ship.
On
Yeah.
the ship. That's right.
Yeah,
So many, like,
whenever they
repeats
opened
of,
up their own ship
Yeah,
to like the
it's-
trade bazaar thing.
Yeah,
It's an enigma. It's an enigma of ours, man. You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that's
Yeah, for some reason I was thinking the bazaar was after they had reached, but you're right because they don't even reach it. They take the sky elevator down.
Mhm.
So yeah, the bazaar is on the on the ship. So that's the
Yep.
one I want to.
yeah,
We'll talk about it. When we get there.
Yari.
yeah.
That
Jari
was
or
but yeah,
something.
they meet Jari, and so they meet. Is it like I can't remember? Is Brevo or Bevo or whatever
Yeah.
his name is? But they meet a merchant, who is kind of one of the leading merchants, but he's the one that Cento points him to. And the kind of fascinating thing about this guy, he doesn't actually have eyes, and so that's kind of one of his modifications is he relies on machinery. Again, very like cyberpunk vibes from this guy. But he's the one who is willing, who knows how to get to Vergassos, who actually can organize travel, and he can contract with ships like the Enigma of Hours to organize travel. He's willing to do this for a vial of blood. And I
First,
did
he
really
wants Hadrian's blood. At first,
Yes.
he wants to wear
Yeah.
those eyes, those violet eyes of his.
Yeah. And I did really like the fact that Hadrian and Tanaran were both very upset by the request for blood, whereas everybody else was like, what the heck? Like this is like the deal of a lifetime.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they don't really have. I think at some point they're like, we're not going to be able to afford it. Like we have enough to like for provisions, basically. Yeah. So yeah, they figure it out.
Ships got to eat.
Ships got to eat.
Yep.
Fuel's got to be half.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which, by the way, we didn't talk about, but like I thought it was really cool, and maybe I'm confused about just the Normans in general, but like all of their hair is like floaty. I know Octavia's is at least. It basically is like floating up above her. So I don't know if it's just I don't know why it would just be a her thing. I'm assuming it's all of them, but I thought that was pretty cool.
I can't remember if that's like her thing. I feel like it's a her thing, or it might even. I couldn't remember if maybe it was also just that there's certain periods where like gravity's a little bit was quite a bit less. So it might
Yeah,
have
but I
also
don't
been
think
a
it was
gravity.
gravity because he specifically is just talking about like her.
But she's pretty unique because she's also like big.
Yeah.
She's massive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I did
she's
think
cool.
that was
She's
cool.
like an
It was
Amazonian
cool.
woman.
Yeah, exactly. I
To
didn't
think
like
of her under
floaty
the thumb
hair.
of somebody else is kind of crazy to me. So
Mm-hmm.
very happy that she was able to be freed.
Yeah, I wonder if that's going to be one, if that's going to be our biggest time jump of the series, because that's a pretty significant one, and two, if we will get, because we kind of got the Lesser Devil in the kind of around the time frame of the time jump from the first book. If we will get a novella, one of these in between novellas will be about that, freeing the Normans, or because I think that could be an interesting story, and we get more insight into Janan and Hadrian's relationship. I think I would like that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I definitely agree.
yeah, I think that could be a cool novella. But
Mhm.
I do wonder if that's gonna be our longest time jump because it was pretty. At least at this point, feels pretty significant. But he might drop a like 250 years later, and we'll just be like, all right.
Book 3, just 1,500 years, and then all the rest of the books take place in like a 10-year span.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so yeah, let's talk about the what is it? The Enigma of Hours with the spider. Because at some point, like they're about to go to the Enigma of Hours, and there's just like they're in space, right? I think, and like there's like a knock at the door.
Yep.
And they're like
an
"The
airlock.
fuck?"
Yeah.
Yeah. And then like another, he's like a spider chimera kind of thing.
Yep.
Comes in, it's just like, I'm your pilot, and you don't have a choice. So here we go. I'm taking over. And does, and docks him, and then gives him kind of the rules of what you can and can't do. I think they're not really supposed to leave the ship except for certain hours or something like that. Or
They
can't
can
remember.
leave once they're like firmly like in like traveling at light speed.
And no weapons, maybe.
No weapon. That's right. They cannot
And
have.
basically
There's,
it's just
there's
like-
actually there's like a lot of rules, and then it's
Yeah.
like, and if you don't follow these rules, we're just gonna vault you off the ship.
Yeah, we
Like,
eject you,
it's-
which is pretty funny. But
Yeah.
yeah. So then they go to the bazaar, and it's, I can't remember, Switch and
It's Switch and Hadrian, because
Hadrian?
Hadrian wants to get out, and Switch doesn't want him to go by himself.
Switch is like terrified of.
Yep.
He like hates.
As he should be.
Yeah.
As he should be. Let's
Yeah,
be
well,
real.
I'm still
Yeah.
wondering, like, is this the sun disk? Like, is it this right here? 'Cause,
It
like,
is.
that
Bree and I do
yeah.
it to each other all the time.
Yeah.
The sign of the sun disk.
I'm just picturing
just
Switch
so
is going around and be like, no. no.
Yeah.
And I always picture them like doing this
On
up
the
like to
thigh.
the like
Yes.
like secretly.
He literally does this he does that all the time. He's just like hiding it. Gotcha.
Christopher Ruocchio definitely grew up playing that game.
Yes, he did.
Oh yeah. Totally.
So yeah, then they So what exactly happens on the Enigma of Hours?
So him and Switch is getting very distressed. And then they get separated because they get hit by, like, you can like if you've ever like been in a subway when multiple of them have come, it's just like a swarm of people basically, like all going in different directions, like come through. And they get separated, and the main reason why they get separated is because this happens at the moment when Hadrian, off in the distance, he sees like a bird person, which was in one of the stories he grew up with, it's like Simeon the Red, I think, or whatever the guy's name is. And so he's like, oh, he's like, they're like, I didn't think they were real, right? Because like I thought it was just like a story. And so he starts like moving, and it's like crowd of people. He gets knocked over. He tries to look for Switch. He can't find him. And then he thinks he sees Tor Gibson, and was like, oh wait, there's no way. There isn't a way. He's like this old man. He like scares half to death. And then all of a sudden he gets lost. He doesn't know how to get back. And then he runs into Marco, who is this basically used car salesman. I mean, essentially, just, hey, you want to come buy my snake skin, my snake oil potions?
Yeah.
And he's like, I got a guy who can see the future. And he's like, oh, how did that happen? Well, he drank water, and now there's parasites in his brain, and he can see the future.
Mhm.
Basically, you got it right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we get to go see the Navi. I mean Javi. No.
The Navi.
But yeah, so then we get to go meet Javi. But the kind of like interesting thing there, and I think it's going to come up later because we really haven't been able to revisit it yet, is there's a language there's a language that they're using, like a set of terms that they're using, which is very significant. Like, because it's like related to, like, Hadrian picks up on the fact that it's related to the quiet. But it's telling of things that he doesn't understand, and the kind of language they're using is like being like in the depths of the ocean. They literally call it like the deeps. And so it's something he had like he had said in that moment, like he intended to talk to Valka about it, but that hasn't happened yet, as far as I'm aware. So I'm interested to see that if that comes back up again, like what this means, and like where Javi was, and like how he could get these parasites, and things like that. But I'm hoping that will be more significant because I'm very curious about it.
Yeah, it's a cool
Yep.
scene.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a pretty memorable scene, I would say. I thought he did say where he drank the water. I thought it was like a. I thought he did say where he drank the water.
He did. He said the
Yeah.
planet where
planet,
he
yeah.
did, or
Yeah,
he said
yeah.
the planet where he did. So you do know the planet, and you know
Do you
what
remember
it
what
was.
the planet was?
Right. I do not.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember off the top of my head, but like
Jupiter.
right now, I think, yeah, there we go.
Jupiter.
It's clearly Saturn. Okay, thank you very much.
Saturn.
I'm just
Mhm.
kidding, yeah. But yeah, and so he basically goes up to talk to this guy, and then the guy turns around to look at him and just basically freaks out. There's something odd in particular about Hadrian, where this guy is actually not able to really tell the future. He can only see like fragments or glimpses, and there's something that just like is something about Hadrian or his past or his future, has made it nigh on impossible for this guy to actually like see. And he refers to him as like having a broken road.
Yeah, because it's not just the future he sees. It sees
Yep.
basically someone's like timeline.
Yeah. Yep.
And yeah, there's a very specific like break he talks about that he can't see beyond
Mhm.
in Hadrian's past.
So, and then he basically Hadrian has to leave because he starts shouting light, light, light. And it's kind of that classic moment, right? He starts like freaking out, and going into this like maddening trance, and just light, light, light.
Which I think Hadrian
Um,
is I think right, is he wondering if that, because he had the visions in Calaga of basically him
Caligar.
piloting,
Yeah.
yeah, of him like piloting that Cielson ship like into a sun, basically.
Yep.
So he's kind of like, is this what he's talking about, or
Yep.
that kind of thing? Yeah, just like a
Mhm.
a collective freak out by everybody.
Yeah, it's just interesting, and like we don't really have enough right now to like tie the two visions together in a way, but now we do have these sort of two things that are kind of like heralding future events for Hadrian. So um it is really fascinating, and I do like it actually, like as a story element that we kind of keep being brought into the larger picture this way, because otherwise we would only have just the narrator's voice. Which honestly, I have enjoyed the narrator's voice a lot more in this one than I did in Empire Silence, specifically the way the narrator's being handled. Um, I have more to say about that later, but I like the fact that like in Hadrian's present for the time we're talking, right? Not the narrator's present, but for Hadrian, the protagonist is present. He is getting the future glimpses. I think that's really neat.
Yeah, I thought it was a great scene. One of the more memorable of the book, I would say. Of just like, yeah, very almost like horror adjacent, starting to lean more into like the horrors of space and the unknowns, and yeah, I thought it was really cool. And then it gets more horrifying as we
So then they make it to Vergassos. Vergassos.
Orgos.
So there was one more thing. We don't have to talk about it too much. I just thought it was interesting of note that before they go to that bazaar, Valka does share her past about being a pilot with Hadrian, and then they both kind of are wondering. There's a bit of self-reflection of like, are we the bad guys here, or like, are we the good guys? They're kind of questioning that, which is yeah. I just found it interesting enough to write down a note. So.
Right.
Mhm.
And she says the line, as long as I think the fact that you're asking that question means that we're good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Which is yeah.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I gotta say, really liked Valka. Took a pretty significant back seat here, compared
I
to.
appreciated that.
I did too, and to me, like I don't know if I would have even minded her being in it more, as long as like the relationship part's not there. Like they can be colleagues and friends and all that, and I think they communicate well and all that. So, yeah, I'm hoping we get to like a nice middle ground for that, which seems like we're going to based off of where we've kind of left off. But yeah, I like that talk between them. It's kind of really like the first. I think it might be the first time they're alone in the whole book that they're talking to each other alone. Maybe not, but I can't think of a time they were before that without like Tanaran or something.
Mm-hmm. You might be right on that. I don't really think about it that way, but I think
I
that's a
didn't
good
even
point.
think about it either.
Mm-hmm. So certainly the first time they would be like off of a ship where they'd be constantly watched, right? Like I think that's a significant piece of it. So at least watched by people whose opinions they actually care about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, and then we make it. The ship makes it to Vergosos, and they're able to take an elevator. We get kind of a weird interaction. First of all, the whole presentation of Vergosos is very like haunting, where it's effectively just like this ice planet. But then they realize they're being sort of lowered into like essentially a valley with a dome built into it. Then it's been there for so long that the elements have just encrusted it with like layers and layers of ice. So they're like, oh, we're going like underground, but it's like, oh, actually, it's probably not like underground the way you would think about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we could just get like I didn't even know how to picture it at all, but it just kind of reminded me of this like almost like a haunting scene from like a Dark Souls game in a way, where we're just sort of like dropped into this like foreboding, nearly abandoned place. There's just like beggars all around, and they like see guards in the distance who they recognize as being SOMs, and it's just like at the same time it's like big and like too sparse all at the same time. It's like really weird.
Yeah. I had a little trouble picturing some of Vorgasos. I think he painted a really good like vibes picture, like you were saying. Like I felt like the vibes of the planet, but when I tried to like the way he painted the first rain gun or whatever, what was it called? Ragnum? Rustum. With like all the ships. Like I could picture that in my mind. I could see it.
Yeah.
I had a harder time here, I think, with like, especially as we go further, it's like, yeah, there's like a valley that's under the ice, but it might not be ice, but the elevator goes through the ice, and then beneath that, there's like a lake down there. I'm just like, I don't really know where we are, but like vibes, I feel like I got that. And maybe we aren't supposed to, because they're also like, so how deep does this go? And we're like, deep.
Deep.
Pretty deep.
Deep. Yeah.
But yeah, so then he talks to another guy, a beggar, because he's as soon as he enters a new location, he needs to talk to somebody.
Yep.
So, and I can't remember exactly what happens, but it leads to them getting knocked out.
Yep. So
right?
he gives a coin to the beggar, and then he I think it's actually the beggar's a she. He frightens the beggar. And because he's pressing her about the Undying, he wants to meet the Undying, and she's, like, no, because hey, you have to remember, like, Hadrian's kind of a bit shocking in this sense because a lot of Palatines come to seek the Undying, but they're not young like Hadrian. So he's very him and his company are very awkward in this sense. For the beggars, for the people of Vergosos. And so as he presses her harder, she gets kind of concerned. And then she starts to name off things about the Undying, and she mentions a key phrase that he was the one who scared off the demons, who rid the world of demons, which is a phrase from a fable that Hadrian grew up with, which was the fable that Tor Gibson gave Hadrian, which is about the King and 10,000 Eyes? Or
yes, the king with 10,000 eyes. Yeah.
10,000 Eyes, which is about Karn, Sagara, and he's like, wait a second, like that can't be true because that fable is about a story that's like 15,000 years old. You're talking about Karn Sagara, like the king with 10,000 eyes, and at that moment, because he names him, then all the guards start coming in, and she's like, no, you're never supposed to say his name, like yeah.
So Karn Sagara is Voldemort.
Yep.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah,
Which
so-
we learn from the description is the person on the front of the cover.
yes. So
Right.
Yes.
now we
So-
know that is the on the front cover of
Which,
Howling Dark. That is
I'll have to show you
Cigar.
guys after. Very, very different than the
Mhm.
cover I have.
Mhm.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the like special
Interesting.
edition.
Mhm.
Cool.
I think the one on the cover that you just showed definitely looks more like the way he is described.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, and the setup for this is like really fascinating. Where so they get separated, and so everybody else goes into one room, and Hadrian does not know this, and they don't know what happened to Hadrian, and they're basically told that they're allowed to leave, but they're not really allowed to leave, and they're told that they can communicate with each other and with the ship, but they're not allowed to actually communicate with the ship. Um, and then Hadrian's actually in a room with a bunch of other palatines and nobles and merchants and people who are very old, but have status and wealth and are seeking an opportunity for a second life. They're not just looking for like anti-aging or to like age reversal, or like they're a literal second life. And we come to find out that Vergosos Odsverstum, because the Undying, Karnsagara, can effectively grow for them a new body, a new person. And we don't know how they get put into that new person, but he can grow that for them, and they just have to wait, basically, for this body to be ready. And we also come to find out, which I think is really interesting, um, there are people there who have been there for a very long time. As well as just the fact that there are people there who are very old. Now, like in the grand scheme of things, they're not nearly as old as Karnsagara, but like I think we're meant to understand there are people there that are like 600, 700, 800 years old, or at least can remember that far back. And which is I thought like really kind of fascinating of like, Hadrian's put in the spot, and like there's almost like an insane amount of information just in that room of things that could be really pertinent to him. And I just thought that was like kind of fascinating. He doesn't really pursue it that much, but
Let's
I
play
thought that
some
was really
chess.
set up. Yeah, he just
Play some
plays
chess,
with
eat
elaborate
some
chess.
scones,
Yeah.
hang out.
Uh-huh. Yeah, tarts, man. You got to get those fruit. Those fruit tarts are really
the
important.
Tarts. Yeah. He finally gets called in. To
Everyone else is pissed.
yeah, say
It's
they're
great.
like, what the hell? Because they're like, oh, it's okay, young man, you'll be called up eventually.
Yeah.
And then they calls him in. And for me, I don't know how you asked about, but Karn, the way that he was written was very like almost like Wizard of Oz, Oz the Great and Powerful for me, of like with the booming voice, where he just very like stoic, almost doesn't even move. It's just speaking to Hadrian with this big, booming, intimidating voice. And then sometimes he'll just actually like speak in like I think the reality is just so old that his voice box probably is just doesn't really work.
No,
fully.
no. It's implied that the drones are the things that are speaking. So like they all have like speakers. So it's like that's why it's coming from like a surround sound thing. His drones are everywhere, right? So you're hearing it from everywhere, where it's like God's voice coming down.
Yeah.
And then whenever he's
Yeah.
actually using his real voice, that's whenever it's like a quiet whisper,
Yeah.
like a strain. And I thought it was really cool the way that Karn was described. Like his lungs were just like you can hear the compressions of the machines like that are breathing for him. He's hooked up to all these kinds of tubes.
Yeah.
Like really cool,
Bro
really
just
cool.
like sits on his throne, 24/7.
Yeah, basically a statue, and oh man, and it was very very much an emphasis on how patient he is, right? Like think about how we're thinking about time as like a from like a palatine perspective, from like an emperor perspective, but this guy we believe is literally the oldest person that we've ever seen in the series so far, right? Like he's got to be.
Yeah.
As far as like it depends on what you consider age, right? Do you consider your consciousness age? Like how old is your conscience? Conscious. So
Yeah, like 15,000 years is what they're basically saying for this guy, and
right.
makes him extraordinarily long in years. But yeah, in terms of like the presentation, it did make the moment that he like unplugs and gets up like that was epic when he's just like our common humanity. Like you want to talk to me,
Yeah.
15,000 years old, who's like seen like the birth and like whose birth of scene of every empire. I've seen more empires go to dust. Like you don't talk to me about common humanity. I'm like I'm literally made mostly of machine and 15,000 years old. Okay. Like,
Yeah.
and it's just that
Wow.
was very cool
Yeah.
scene.
Yeah.
I really love how Karn is being portrayed so far, and yeah, I don't know if he's really going to be like a true antagonist. I mean, he's kind of serving that role, but as a character, he's a very like daunting and very cool character right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Very cool scene, but ultimately denies Hadrian's request, um, and basically says like, I'll hear Tanaran's request. Bring him.
Yep.
And so yeah, I think basically he's like, get comfortable. We'll send for Tanaran, but then I think the other people actually go to get Tanaran, and Hadrian is left alone in the suite in which his friends were previously staying in. And then we kind of figure out like all the like servant robots or whatnot are just Karn.
Yep.
Basically running them, and so he's like, yeah, enjoy the palace, feel free to explore, and then leaves. I can't remember what's the bots. I wrote down somewhere here the main bot.
Yum. It's like
Oh yeah, Yume.
You may.
Yume. Yeah. So let's see here. Yeah, this is when he goes to the garden. Right? He starts to wander, and he goes to this weird garden thing with a bunch of like layers that go down, and there's I think he sees a bird at some point.
He sees lots of different creatures.
Yeah, lots of
He sees
different creatures.
squirrels. He sees birds.
Yeah, and then
He-
finds a weird door with twin snakes. This felt important. This door, twin snakes entwined, and eating a man is what is on the door, and he basically tries to summon it. It doesn't work. He's locked out. And Yume's like, of course, like it'd be like in a movie where it's like showing this, and it cuts back to the front view of Hadrian. Like Yume's just like right there.
Yep.
Like, yeah, you can't go in there. Why don't we go back to your suite? And escorts him back up. But before we move on, any thoughts about the garden?
Yeah.
Or
Well,
anything
so
before that?
I guess I'll go ahead and kind of talk about one of the things I want to talk about because the garden kind of fits in that as well. Is I don't know how I feel about this right now, but I'm going to err on the side of I don't like it as a choice, but I do like it for its poetic like nature. Is the amount of classical literature that Christopher Ruocchio is bringing into the story. Like I said, there's a lot of really awesome prose and there's a lot of poetic nature. But just as a general rule, again, I'll think about this a lot more, but I kind of prefer that if you're going to bring up a lot of classic literature, that there should be a point to it. There should be an allegory. And right now, not only have we brought up a bunch of classical literature, Virgil, Milton, Dante, several different stories from Greek mythology, even more esoteric ones. Like I don't know how many people who haven't played Hades are as familiar with like Charon and like all the stories surrounding him. Right. So a lot of that's getting brought up. And then even not like some less classical, like now we're into Lovecraft and then the inspiration behind Lovecraft with the King in Yellow. Like he specifically refers to he makes an archetype out of Karn to Hastur and then also to the earlier renditions of the King in Yellow. And so like now we're bringing up like other stories as well. There are several chapters that are literally named after characters from Greek mythology or from other like I said other pieces of classical literature. And I think at this point, especially with the garden, I'm seeing a lot of elements of of the Odyssey, and specifically the story of Odysseus. So there's a lot more of that I'm more comfortable with now that a lot of these elements from the Odyssey are coming into play. But it just leaves the rest of it like Milton specifically, Dante specifically, like especially since Dante was like literally brought up in with the dialogue with Karn. It's just like I don't know that these things are being brought out very allegorically right now, and so it just feels like we're bringing in a lot of this. The one kind of saving grace I would say is the narrator is actually the one doing all of the discussion on classical literature, which does help you identify the narrator, and it also makes me wonder a few things, like why it would be the case that the narrator is so fixated. And so this could be one of those things that makes sense a lot later in the series, where as you know, maybe if we get further in the series, we'll come to understand something more about Hadrian, and we'll in the be able to recognize in retrospect like, oh, that makes sense that that's the way the narrator talks. But right now, I think it's like a little bit overdone. So it's just
Kind of just feels like, and this is how it felt in the first book to me too, Rockio just like flexing. Like, it felt like he was in school and learned about this stuff and loves it himself, which is cool. But to me, I also feel like it's feeling a little like, I know this, so I'm gonna put it in because I know it and I like it. Where something like with Malazan, like Steven Erikson, you could tell that's his passion, like what is archaeology, things like that. But it's not like it works for the world. I think it feels natural, where this feels a little bit less natural. But is the painting he speaks of at some point? There's a painting in the suite. Is that a real painting? It sounded like it was based off of a real painting.
I'm trying to think of which painting specifically was the one he was looking at. There's the painting of Saturn that was brought up. I know that, and that is a real painting.
I think that's the one.
With like the man that was being eaten
Yes,
and like
yeah.
the blood. Yes, that's a real painting.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
yeah.
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 Yeah. Eating his own child or whatever. Like, yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Which
So that,
to me,
that
it's
one's
like
real.
that one for sure feels like it is going to be, we'll talk about maybe predictions, but maybe what is maybe coming up with the people and how they get born again or something like that. But it seems important. But also, it does make you wonder if that is what it's like. Why is Karn hanging this in the suite? Like, just like, like, dude, just like a freaking art collector. It's like this one in here.
This one.
Yeah, I like this one.
Yeah, there's some interesting elements, but I will say the garden is very cool. I mean, I think the garden is very cool, and there's it's been a while since I've read the Odyssey, but there is a scene in the Odyssey where time kind of becomes irrelevant for Odysseus, and there's a lot of elements here that are very reminiscent of that, and that's kind of like part of the element too. So I would say like I find the imagery like really neat. I find the garden very like suspect too, because it's like gardens are meant to be beautiful, but it's like it's hiding a deadly secret. And we did have some. Didn't we have some like imagery earlier on in the book too, where you talked about, for example, like the idea of like poisoning the thorn of a rose, right? And the sort of idea of like there's almost this like sort of paradoxical nature to like mixing these elements. And then you have the sort of like the whole like Odysseus theme being out of time and the trials and stuff like this. And so I've really enjoyed like the whole setting for Vogosos and how it's sort of building up this like world for us before everything kind of like goes crazy. Yeah. So yeah, I'm enjoying the vibes a lot.
Me too.
Yeah.
And then Karn
Obviously, I
tries
enjoyed
to,
it a little bit too much, but yeah.
What's that?
I said I enjoyed it a little bit too much.
Oh yeah, the part coming up where Karn tries to.
Oh no!
bang
I
Adrian.
just enjoyed the vibes too much. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, then we get a weird scene. Really well done. I think it is uncomfortable. It's meant to. I think Hadrian susses out that this sex worker, I guess, basically, is just Karn. controlling her, which is real gross and just like why, like you freaking weirdo. But yeah, and this was one that was because when Bree and I read, we'll read like 1 or 2 chapters, because we try and just pace it. And so like the chapter, he's like he makes it back up to the room, and then he's choked from behind, and it just is such like a goofy little cliffhanger. I'm like, there's no way this is gonna be like bad. Like this is not gonna be bad, and it wasn't. But it's the sexy lady. They do the Titanic where she literally like undresses and lays on the couch and he draws her, which I thought was hilarious. I was like, no way, they're doing Titanic. They literally do the Titanic, which is just.
Well, he has to have a reason
Karn was
to
on the
notice
Titanic.
it. Yeah.
What's that?
Karn was on the Titanic. Okay.
Yeah, for real.
Karn could have fit at least 2 people on that door.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's a little bit better. But we yeah. So I think we just had to have we had to have a reason for him to notice the implant, right? So like him drawing is a good way of doing it, and I also really like the fact that he like cringed at her picking up the wait a second. And that was he didn't cringe at her picking up the journal or whatever, right? Because the journal was knocked over and there was like pictures everywhere, right?
Yeah, isn't she like kind of giving him a hard time for drawing Valka? I thought,
Right.
or kind of joking about his drawings or something.
Yeah, I think I was thinking about the Emesh princess that they were cringing at, like ripping out a piece of paper or whatever. Can I have this? And then he's like tears out the journal page. But that was like in the previous book. Anyway.
Yep.
But yeah, he has to have a reason to see the implant and then kind of figure out like, hey, you're Karn's puppet. Gross.
But like it's my understanding was like it is literally Karn, right? Controlling, like seeing through the eyes of controlling fully, right?
Yeah.
But
I don't know if he's like feeling what this thing feels. I don't
probably.
know. Probably, which is even weirder. Because like he probably would have like if Hadrian was just like, let's do this. I think Karn
he was close. He was real close.
I just wanted like Karn's just like sitting on the seat, like
close.
Sweating. Like what's he doing there? Just like
Well, I mean, you're a 10,000-year-old guy, man. You got to get your nut. You know, this is the first. Yeah.
Dude, Karn invented catfishing, man. Okay, that's what you gotta understand.
We're gonna have a ton of Karn jokes in this series. I can tell you.
It was getting carnal.
Yeah. So Carney. Go.
Yeah, I was gonna say that I don't know if you guys interpret it this way, but the way I interpret it wasn't like Karn was literally that person. Like I think that is a homunculus, like it's a separate body than like Karn's body, so it's like not shape-shifting. And I don't think that it was like a robot that Karn just like chooses to control. I think quite literally Karn is all of the people in that place at all times, like almost like a hive mind.
But I think so too. But I think he was like present there.
But I think like he is like present in all of them. So
you think
time.
all the old people too, or not?
No, not the old people. All the
okay.
workers, all the non-Yume workers, because he talked about them being like they're sleeping.
Yeah.
So I think that I think that all these people, I think that earlier there was a mention of like people become like the guards, like that's one of the punishments, and they become like SOMs. And I think that is like something that is happening is I think that there are a bunch of SOMs/homunculi that are in there that like are literally Karn. He's not like, putting on the VR headset, controlling them. Like they just like are all part of the same entity.
Yeah.
Like all the time.
That's why. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought as well. I mean, he's like the. That's I think why he gets his name, right? The King of 10,000 Eyes. I was thinking even like basically any SOM on that planet.
Yep.
And I don't know if that extends beyond the planet either, which is I don't know if we know that if he can, or if like did he have reach all the way? Like, I mean, I don't think he was the Painted Man. I think too many things go wrong that he wouldn't have allowed to happen. I don't think he was like revealing himself. That doesn't really make any sense. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know how far that reaches. But
it could be the case though that it could be the case though that the Painted Man came from like it seemed like he came from Vergosos and like he could have been like a creation. Yeah, and it could have been like a creation of Karn. I don't know, but yeah.
Basically, he's a sicko, which
Yep.
maybe 15,000 years would turn anybody into a sicko. He doesn't.
That's
get
what
out.
I'm thinking. I'm thinking that some things get pretty well accentuated for 15,000 years of existence.
Yep. So Hadrian susses it out and is like, leave. And then Yume comes back and he's like, hey, I just want to let you know there's no surveillance in here. And Hadrian's like, yeah, right. Like, sure, buddy.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Like, that's when you come to tell me? I'm sure there's none. I'm sure there's none. Yeah. Thanks, Yume. I thought that was pretty funny.
Just in case you were worried last night, it wasn't going to end up on the internet.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Gosh.
Yeah, I think that's. I think then Tanaran comes back, right? Yeah.
Yep.
That's the next. Is basically we Tanaran meets with Karn.
Yep.
And it doesn't really go the way Hadrian wants because Karn's like, sure, we can wait for them to get here. I'll hold Tanaran. Bye, Hadrian. You're out of here. And yeah, Hadrian basically begging to stay so he can meet the Aeta. The Aeta and Vorgosos. And yeah, then they're basically, he says no, and they're captured by SOMs again. Which, I mean, so there was one part I think that we didn't touch on the first time Hadrian meets with Karn, which was the fact that we find out that Karn has been working with the Cielsen pre-first contact.
Yes. Which
is huge.
Yep.
So yeah, I just wanted to mention that because that is a pretty important thing that surprises Hadrian, and I'm assuming us as the reader, because yeah, they've been working together for a long time. So he definitely has a relationship with them more than probably, at least for me, the more than I first thought, because it kind of was just like, oh yeah, they've traded before, but no, there's like they've been trading for a very long time. So
yep.
Yeah, and he, I didn't write too much down about the conversation that Tanaran and Karn have, that meeting. Do you want to? Yeah.
The only really significant thing there is Tanaran and like he's pursuing his motivations. He's not just trying to be an advocate for Hadrian. That there is alignment. I mean, he wants to get back to the prince. He's fine with there being peace, and certainly is open to it. Which so again, these like same motivations align, but he's not attached to the idea. He's not married to the idea of like Hadrian being along for the ride. And then there are a few things that are mentioned, but the most notable thing that gets mentioned is that Karn is able to suss out of Tanaran how they found out about a mesh. So now Valka and Hadrian have like a clue about how the Cielsen found out about a mesh, and they don't know what it is. It could be a ship, it might be a place or a planet or something, but they now have a lead to go on, another lead other than Vorgosos. So, which is interesting. And then they decide jailbreak.
Yeah, I wrote down. So I wrote that they conceive that in the city below lies an AI that helped Karn create this place.
Yep, and that's also from the fable.
Okay.
That he had like the assistants or like mastered an AI, and that's how he was able to like get rid of all of the other demons. Which by the way, I don't know if I mentioned this the last time around, but the whole demon thing is a play on words.
Like Damon. Diamond?
Because
like a diamond?
yeah, because you have demon and then you have diamond, and then one of the like terms for like low end computer processes is a daemon, Daemon.
So neither of the two that are in the book.
Yeah, that's correct. But but again, that's why it's kind of a play on words, though. Is
Yeah.
like because you could have like an AI that like runs off of its own daemon. So yeah.
DAIMON.
Hmm.
It's in the name. The
Yeah.
AI.
Yeah. So anyway,
Rocco's
so
a
just
genius.
little fun fact. Yeah, little fun fact.
Yeah, I think I do find that interesting of like how much control is Karn just a puppet for this AI after all these years kind of thing, or who's working
Could
for
be.
who, or what? Yeah, I am curious to learn more about this AI, who created it, so on and so forth. But yep, then they basically are going to do a jailbreak, and they're saying we're getting out of here and we're going to try and get Tanaran with us. And to do that, they go to the garden door, and I think that's kind of where we leave off. I think Valka hacks it basically, and then they're about to go through. And I'm
Yep.
sure,
She hacks it, and it's like too easy. She even says it's like way too easy, and then that's where we leave off.
yeah. I don't have the book with me, but there's one part. I think it's either the second to last chapter or the last chapter where he specifically mentions like telling Valka about the monster he saw in the garden. And I was like, I went back and reread the garden section. There is no monster that he sees there. So I have literally no idea what that is referencing. He sees a bird. I was like, is this the monster he's seeing?
What?
Yeah, it's I don't have it with me. It's like the last, maybe the second to last sentence or last sentence of 38 or 39. I think maybe 38. Because it's like they're about to go to the
Okay.
garden.
Yeah, right.
He talks about mentioning either creature or monster to her.
I'm trying to remember.
Do you have the book with you? Yeah. Look.
I have it right here.
Yeah. Look at like the last 2 or 3 sentences of 38, and see if it's there. Because I was like, I have
I'm interested.
literally no idea what this is referencing. And Bree didn't know. I went back and read the garden section multiple times, trying to figure out what it meant. So I don't know if like I just have no idea.
Are you sure he's talking about the garden or no? Because Valka was with them whenever they went to go see Karn, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I remember. Are you sure that he wasn't trying to like tell him about Karn?
No, I'm not. I'm not sure, but it was like as they're about to go. I can't remember because it's been weeks. But it was. I felt like it was leading me to him talking about the garden. Because he's talking about like things he saw down there or something like that.
Down there, yeah. So you still go down to see Karn, right? Because that's where Yume takes you. Yume takes you down to go see.
Oh yeah, maybe it is
Karn.
that then. But I thought that they had already seen Karn together.
And the pyramid. Yeah, I thought. Yeah, if it's after they've already seen Karn, then it doesn't make sense that why would he be describing?
I think it is after they've seen Karn.
Okay.
I could run and grab the book as well.
Oh well, go ahead and run and grab your copy because I want to see the cover that
Oh
you.
yeah, okay, all right.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm,
You find anything, Ian?
no. I mean, I remember them talking about like the buildings they saw below.
Try
And
before they reach Karn, right? So try like 37. 37 is before they reach Karn, right?
I found it. It's the end of 38.
Where is it? It's 38?
Yeah,
Okay.
so it says
dismissed the idea, remind myself that Valka hadn't even seen the creature in the Detosphere.
yeah, that. Hadn't even seen the creature. I dismissed the idea. So yeah, it says assuming what the machine had said was true about the installation security cams, we stood a chance of making it below. Assuming below is where we wanted to be, which I'm assuming is through the garden door. I dismissed the idea, reminding myself that Valka hadn't even seen the creature in the data sphere. I was like, what the hell is that? What is the data sphere?
No, the data sphere is what is that's like their internet. That's what they call data sphere.
But what's the creature
Right.
in the data sphere? I mean, he's saying that like we had, like we
I
should know what
think it
that
was.
is.
Well, no, I think it's referring to people in that place because that's one of the things that that's one of the problems that Valka is having while she's in Vergosos is like she has a neural lace that allows her to connect to the data sphere,
Right.
and she can't like there's a Karn has a way of interacting with all the SOMs and like the Yume who's like called a golem, but she can't see them like when she connects to the data sphere like
Right.
like they're somehow connected but
She can't see
can't.
Karn basically in there.
She can't see Karn. She can't see Yume. She can't see anything.
But what
When
is
she
the
connect,
creature? It is specifically
I
saying
thought it was.
the
I thought
creature.
it. I took it to be Yume.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was thinking the Yume
So she can't see
or
Yume
something.
at all. Period.
No,
She
no,
can't-
no.
Yeah, she couldn't. She's not allowed to like shut him down or anything. Like she can't.
But
Like,
she can
interact
see a
with them.
physical thing there.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just if she taps in, she can't see it to be. It's just written so weird.
Yeah.
That I'm
Yeah,
like,
I can see. I can see how you can misinterpret that for sure.
yeah, because he's floating the idea of. He's like, maybe we would kidnap Yume. The golem would have much of the knowledge we needed, but I knew that the moment we attacked Karn's
Yeah.
prized android, the Undying would know what we'd done.
And then he
Assuming-
dismissed the idea because she hasn't even seen Yume in the data sphere because she can't.
but
Yeah.
really is Karn.
What, Yume?
Yeah, isn't Yume basically isn't Yume Karn as well?
Right now, we're led to believe that's not the case.
Oh, so we think
Correct.
maybe this is the AI.
Yume acts differently than the other ones, and he's put himself forward as an AI.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And Hadrian treats him as such. He treats him as an AI.
It's not the cover. Sorry, it is the inside flap. But I am assuming, and don't tell me if this is not this, but I am assuming that this is Karn. It's like
Whoa.
black robe with a gold shirt.
And that's
Yeah.
Yume next to him?
I think that's
I
the
believe
one
that.
that was going into the waiting room. Which I can't
Yeah,
remember.
that's
Is that
Yume.
Yume?
That's Yume.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so because that would make sense because they described his shoulders like areas where he can literally see the cogs like turning, like he or she, I don't even know.
Yeah, just like an it kind of thing. It's
Yeah,
just like a bunch of statues, but it's interesting because this is like, it's Hadrian and Valka. No Tanaran. There's like statues against the wall, and then there's a painting behind him as well.
right.
So I was assuming that that's supposed to be Karn, but I was like, it's really different than the way because the book does talk about like being all like silver, like, light colored, like the way he is portrayed on the front cover of your book. But I
Right.
find it interesting. But yeah, I definitely was confused about the creature thing. But
Yeah.
that makes more sense. Yeah, it was just written in such a way that I was like, "What?" I was like, "Creature."
Right.
Did you
Yeah.
see something in the garden that I didn't remember? And I went back and there's like he sees like a parrot. I was like,
Yeah.
surely that's not what he's talking about, right? Because
Yeah.
that'd be hilarious.
No, he's definitely talking about Yume there.
the creature.
Mhm.
But yeah, then they're heading in, and all their problems are gonna be solved, and then the
Everything's gonna
series will
end up a happy ending, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Him and Tanaran will smooch, and that will they'll marry, and that will unite humanity and the Cielsons.
There you go.
Yep.
Yep, there we go. All right, well, we let's get into likes and dislikes, and any predictions, and then we'll head out. We are at a little over 2 hours, so might want to be brief if we can. I only have one prediction. I don't really have likes or dislikes. I liked it. I like pretty much everything. Like I said, I think in every regard it is better than the previous two books, to where like it's the type of curve I like to see for an author, like growth. I think there's been a lot of growth. it's a lot as far as what's actually happened. There's been a lot of like politicking and stuff, but I really like the politicking. I think there's been a good blend of action and politicking, but I think it leans heavy on politicking, not too much action, which I prefer. Do wish the action sequences were like maybe a smidge shorter, to where there's not enough of them to where it's really bothering me that much. But like, I wasn't worried for Hadrian at all in that scene. You know what I mean? Like, so I was just like, all right, yeah, let's get going. So, but yeah, I don't really have any real complaints. I don't think. Any other?
And then I
thoughts?
kind of mentioned my likes and dislikes as we kind of went through it. I mean, I would say again, overall likes just kind of echo what you said, Matt. But I think that it shows a lot of growth from Chris Ruocchio in his writing, and I think that the way that the character interactions are going, it's really helping to strengthen all of the characters, and I think it's really setting the series up as a whole really well. And so I'm very excited to continue to see like what comes of this particular story, and then how this will evolve over the course of the series. Um, and then just in terms of predictions, um, I don't know. Like I was thinking about that today as well. Of like what do I kind of predict for the future? I don't know how to like really put words on my prediction, but I just feel like um Karn is not going to be what he's being presented as. That's just kind of the main thing that keeps like it just feels like with all of the way that this is being presented that there's like a deeper mystery to this, and I don't know if it's in a way connected to the quiet. It kind of feels like it's being set up that way, or to this Yeltsin, but it just doesn't really feel like it feels like Karn is something else. Like whether
Yeah.
that might mean that he's like something like really special and menacing, um, or like a Wizard of Oz character where like he's just the face of a deeper threat or of a deeper charade. I don't know.
I'm leaning that way personally.
Yeah,
I don't think we see Karn beyond this book.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But I just I can't get over the fact that like apparently is a long history of Palatines coming to him for Second Life. So where have all of those ended up?
Any repeat customers? Could you even do
Yeah,
that?
yeah. But it's just like, isn't it convenient that the Chantry has such strong control over genetic breeding amongst its nobles? And the fact that if they like have their own bastard children, which they're not even bastards, that they're like genetically inept, they'll become intus, and then you have this whole operation going on. Like, it just kind of makes you wonder. And then what might that mean for Hadrian then? Like, could it be that Hadrian is actually one of these people?
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's one more thing I wanted to say as far as likes and dislikes. I do think there are times for me where it does go a little heavy on the philosophizing. Like
Mm.
anything that happens, Hadrian has to like philosophize about it, and I'm like,
That's just Hadrian's character, I think. Yeah,
it is.
He's
Yeah.
just that's Hadrian.
I was joking with let me see if I find it. I was joking with Jonesy because we were talking about it, and oh, I'm not gonna be able to find it.
Well, while he's looking, Carlos, likes and
Oh,
dislikes.
I found it.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll do
Oh,
that.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay.
No.
I
While
just
you're
wrote
still
a
on it.
quote, but so this is from the book. It's not, but I farted. The fart left my butt. Like Cat's soul left her body. Cat, my friend. The friends I've left behind. What kind of man leaves friends behind? What kind of man am I? All because he farted. And like I feel like that's what we're doing here. It's like literally anything can happen. He's like, Cat, the man I've killed. I'm like, dude, bro, you just ate breakfast. Like,
Dude,
it's okay.
It's just a guy being way like over the top melodramatic, and
Yeah.
that's just what he is.
I know.
But I have really liked this book a lot, and like even more so. Like I'm for sure gonna finish the whole series, no matter what we decide at the end of this book. But man, I really enjoyed the growth of Christopher Ruocchio. I will say there's one dislike. Not it's not really a dislike, maybe a little challenge, which I don't know how drinking games go with book reading, which I don't think it's compatible. But if you want to, you can try and take a shot every time that the word "still" is used in the book. That is a very favorite writing. Like you can tell it's one of his favorite ways to describe a scene. If X is X, then X is X still. That is very much.
There were a couple of rough patches. I didn't know. I think this happened like 2 or 3 times where I read it. I was like, I'm pretty sure this just got through editing somehow. Like this was clearly probably part of how I originally wrote it, and like it was meant to get nabbed by an editor, and it just didn't.
He does an interesting thing I've noticed where like he will bring up a word like a word, not a common word, like disquiet. He'll say something like something disquiet, and then he'll say disquiet again like 3 or 4 more times within 2 pages, and then won't use disquiet again for the rest of the book. It's just like, oh yeah, this word's hot right now. This is a hot word. I gotta use disquiet.
It's on his mind.
Yeah,
he likes it. It's definitely a writer's like tick kind of thing.
Yeah.
I can definitely see that.
Yeah, not bothersome. Just something I noticed as I was reading it. And I was like, "Whoa, he's bringing out some big word." Oh, just for here. Okay. Yeah, he forgot to bring out the thesaurus. The thesaurus.
Yeah.
All right, I do have. You talking about how Karn's not maybe there's maybe more to Karn made me think of now that like I think I have 2 I guess bold predictions for the series, not for what's coming up in the rest of this book. One of which I don't think there will ever be a singular like big bad. I think the war is the big bad and the quest is the big bad. And maybe Hadrian himself is the big bad, but there's not going to be like a Emperor Palpatine kind of thing. That's the first thing I think. And the second one is the boldest of the bold. I think that, so when he meets the water guy, the visionary guy that can see your past, and says,
Jari,
and he says, I can't see beyond this point. That point, I'm pretty sure either Hadrian mentions that, I'm pretty sure he does. That is the point where or maybe I was just making the connection and think this is what led me to a prediction. I think that is the point where he goes into cryo with the people on the first ship before he crashes on Emesh. You know what I'm talking about? He goes in the cryo and he just wakes up on Emesh. I think that this... I actually don't think this is going to happen, but it'd be crazy if at that point that Hadrian has been like cloned. He's still there, gone in cryo with the other people. This is just someone else. This is another Hadrian that has woken up from cryo. And that's why I can't see beyond that moment, because there is no beyond that moment for this Hadrian. This Hadrian was birthed then, somehow. I was like, that would be a crazy ending. I don't actually think that's going to happen, but like with the way that clones and stuff do happen, that would be wild to me.
Yeah.
And he finds his other body or something. I don't know. I just think that would be like, whoa. That would kind of break your brain a little bit, or break my brain. So that's my probably not going to happen. Almost definitely not going to happen, but bold prediction for the series.
It is bold, Cotton. It's a bold strategy.
Book 7. We're not going to find out to the end.
I don't think that has happened, but I think something like there's going to be some shenanigans. I feel like there has to be some cloning shenanigans at some point, for sure. The only reason I say I'm not sure that happened because the ring. The ring, I think, is the one that.
Well, what if these people transferred the ring to him?
Could have, but that would. I mean, the thing is, like, he went into cryofugue with the ring, so like they would have had to like literally break his finger off to get the ring off of him. And the clone had if he's the clone, he has the cryo burns from wearing the ring in cryofugue.
That's true. I guess I don't. Yeah, maybe with cloning, it's just any marks or anything like that are as they are. I don't know. I don't know enough about cloning.
Yeah, I don't know. We need to read more up on cloning.
Yeah, tell us, Ruocchio. Yeah, I just think that, like, to
but
me,
yeah,
if I'm thinking
that's
of
pretty cool,
like
though.
something that could happen that would seriously be
Mhm.
like, that's crazy, is like 7 books into this series, you find out that since book 1, this is not the real Hadrian. Like,
Mhm.
I would just, that would be, it'd be, I don't know, it'd be crazy. Be kind of cool.
Mhm. Yeah, that would be pretty cool. The last thing, as you're mentioning that, I just thought we should mention is there was one other interesting reveal. We don't really need to go into it, but the narrator Hadrian did reveal to us that at some point along his journey, he actually stands face to face with the Emperor in the Emperor's chambers,
Mm-hmm.
which I thought was kind of neat.
Do we think the Emperor is using the what Karn is doing? Because hasn't the
Yes.
Emperor been? Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I think he is. I think it actually. I think the Emperor is probably maybe the same person. He just keeps adding numerals to his name
Oh yeah, yeah. I would. I
Mhm.
think I am leaning that way
to
as
to
well.
to make it like palatable for the people of the Empire.
Yeah, and he's got the super
Yeah.
fast ship. He could just
Yep.
scoot right over to Karn, and
Exactly. Yeah.
Karn's just
Because like
growing.
I just can't get like the foundation out of my head. Like it feels like so much like that show, like that whole setup.
Yeah,
It's just it really feels like there's some genetic, cloning slash SOM shenanigans going on
that'd
here
be a
with the
fun
Empire.
reveal for this book. They go down and see a bunch of clones of the Emperor, and like that's how they discover he's doing it. It's like there's Emperor clones because that's what he basically grows them, right?
Mhm.
So like the Emperor is alive wherever he is, but these would look just like a husk of the Emperor, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and maybe even like they might even be sentient. They might even just be husks.
Oh yeah, that'd be weird.
Because like, why do the children need a garden?
It's true.
Mm.
The bird. It's all gonna
Oh
come
yeah.
back to the bird.
It's for the parrot. It's the real
The
mastermind.
parrot. Yeah.
The real creature of the garden.
Creature.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right,
Yeah.
guys. Well, that was fun. Yeah, I'm excited. Definitely excited to keep reading. So I think I'm with you, Lois. Unless like something takes a drastic turn, it does feel like Empire of Silence will probably be the worst, and that's a good thing for me. So very interested to keep reading, and yeah. So if you're watching, we'll be back in, I don't know, a couple weeks, 3-4 weeks, to do the second half of this book and wrap it up. And then we'll do a barf video after that. Josh may be joining for one or both. I'm not sure. But any closing thoughts?
No, just
Finish
I'm
the
excited
book.
to get
Finish
into
the
it.
book.
Yeah,
Let's
it's
do
gonna
it.
be good. And so yeah, definitely look forward. It like Matt said, it'll probably be because we do have a few things we're working on, so it's probably gonna be about 3 weeks. So close to the end of February, but stay tuned. And if you're interested in some of the other stuff that we're reading, check out the other videos we're doing Malazan. I've got some other ones that I'm cooking up that I want to put out there as well. But just overall, yeah, love to hear from you all in terms of what you think about the book so far. And if there's any returning veterans, it's awesome seeing the comments. So we'll definitely catch you on the next one.
Sweet. All right. I'm Matt.
I'm Ian.
Dose.
And we are.
Bye-bye.